Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight we have guests, Psychic and Ghostbuster Michael Bodine. It's his first time on the show. He should be joining us after the World Wide Web of Weird. And from what I understand, he might do a little mini readings tonight. We might only have him for an hour, though, so I don't know if we can fit in mini readings or not, because he sounds like a really fun, interesting guest with a lot of experience. He's been in the field for at least, I think, 35 years from what I read from his bio. So a lot of interesting stories. He grew up in basically a psychic, his mom encouraged him with taking the psychic fairs, and then, growing up that way is going to be interesting to hear his perspective on it. And he's like a psychic to the celebrities, like Gary Busey, Melanie, Griffith. So we'll talk about that. I don't know if I've had a couple psychics on. I think they've had celebrity clients before. It's an interesting aspect to psychics. Imagine reading for a celebrity. You do know a lot about them. How do you filter that out? I'm always interested in how that works. But yeah, later on we might take phone calls for readings. If not, if he's only on for an hour, later on, I think we should do a psychic game night if we only have him for an hour. We haven't done that in a while, so I don't want to get your hopes up. I know people have been waiting to do that, and I know we need to do an ITC show. Me and Jamie were talking about that before the show. I'm going to get something. I'm really booked up with guests, so I'm getting a lot. And I have a lot of you guys sending me guests. Just don't forget paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com. Give them that email if you have a guest. You want to come on the show, let them know. So we got that. Like I said, a lot of weird I have to get to in the World Wide Web of Weird, so a lot there. And that's about it. I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight. Thanks to everybody. Keep sharing the show out right now. Let people know we got a great show tonight, but we got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get rolling on into it. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Michael Bodine, will join us after the World Wide Web of Weird. And like I said, I think he said he only going to do an hour. We'll see if we can get more out of him, and maybe some mini readings. We'll see tonight. But he sounds like an awesome guest. Awesome, as always, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, we got to get together on a ITC show and a Psychic Game Night show. I'm just getting booked up with guests, and I miss it. It's fun. We need to do it. I need to leave a spot open. I keep giving them up to new guests that comes like, oh, this is a good guest. I guess I'll give up this spot. I got to stop doing that. I got to leave it because nobody's canceled so far, knock on wood. Might have jinxed myself tonight. I don't know. Rob Autry from St. Augustine, Florida. How you doing tonight? Doing better if you weren't muted. You didn't mute yourself there.
Oh, man, come on. You got one job, Rob.
One job, Rob. No, you got two jobs. You get to help share the videos and photos from the World Wide Web of Weird, and it's a very important job because I suck at it. I suck at doing it and trying to read the article. So it's greatly appreciated you're here. And like I said, tonight's guest, Michael Bodine, psychic and Ghostbuster. I want to talk about that. You know, myself, I say I'm a paranormal investigator. I always be like, I'm not a Ghostbuster. Some people do say they are because they do bust ghosts. They remove them from places. I don't. So I'm always interested in those who do have this ability. I'd like to hear more about that. So I'm sure he's got some interesting stories. But that'll be after World Wide Web Weird and our first commercial break. But speaking of, we do have a lot to get to. So let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, we got a lot of UFO stuff. I got an update on John McAfee. His wife has made some statements I want to cover, and my dystopian nightmare. At the end here I'll talk about. But I figured I'd start off with this one since it's not related to any of those. Might as well just get this one out of the way. One of my favorite lines in one of my favorite TV shows is Supernatural. You know, my oldest son, his name is Dean for a reason. If you haven't seen Supernatural, go check it out. It had its, 13 seasons and ended just recently. Breaks my heart. One of my favorite lines is Dean Winchester says, "Damn those witches and all their bodily fluids." That made me think of this article. Metal detectorist, I didn't even know that was how you call it. Metal detectorist unearths creepy witch bottle containing hair, urine, and a human tooth. Gross. For those listening on the Paranormal Radio Network, we are a webcast. We do stream live out to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And I saw somebody complain about the pre-screen roll before the show last week. Maybe they weren't watching it live. We do start on time. We start at 10, but I do go live a couple minutes early so I can pre-screen and share it out live, because if I don't share it out live on Facebook, it's hard to see or get views. That's why. Sorry if you have to wait. If you're watching it later, just fast forward. But if you're live, just come at 10 o'clock. You'll be good. All right, so... Yeah. Always got to be a complainer out there, right? Oh, then my article disappears. That ain't good.
But I want it this way.
You know you're getting bigger if you get complainers. That's that. I'm good. All right. From the Daily Star, metal detectorist unearths creepy witch bottle containing hair, urine, and a human turd. Human turd. Wow. Human tooth. It could have been a turd. I don't know. I was watching South Park the other day, a rerun of voting for a douchebag or a turd sandwich. I guess that's why it came in my head. And my article keeps just shutting down. I'm trying to get at least the guy's name out of this. Daily Star, you suck. Chris Langston, 48, found the bottle near a severed doll's head. That should have been your first side. But has now returned the item to their original location as he was worried about disturbing a curse. Let's see if I can get this article. A terrifying 19th century witch bottle containing hair, urine, and a human tooth. Then my article flips. What the heck? Hold on. Let me see if I can shut some of these things down. It might help, because this article keeps just flipping out on me. Where's my... Hope it's not my internet.
You had
all right.
Bird, so.
Yeah, tooth. Hold on. Dang it. The perfectly preserved clear bottle was found by Chris Langston, 48, in a secluded location, woodland near Oswestry, Shorefire. I'm totally butchering all that. After digging out the perfectly preserved Victorian glass apothecary vessel, a tooth slid down the tube, and also he spotted a hair and also submerged in what appeared to be urine. We're just going to assume it's urine, and my article's flipping out here. But I wanted to get what they actually said. It was really interesting. That it's actually something that was very common. Dad of 3 made the creepy discovery. See, I can't read the article. It just keeps flipping out. I hope the rest of my articles don't do this. I think it's the Daily Star. They suck. People would put these things in the bottle with the tooth, the hair, and the urine as a way to protect the property, not a curse. But I think it was a good idea for him to put it back. So if you find but what is it with witches and spells and bodily fluids everywhere? What was Dean Westchester's comment about witches and supernatural? I thought, like, yeah, why? That's why I didn't get into the real serious witchcraft. I guess I know witches that don't do bodily fluid stuff like that, but there are some, maybe a lot, and there was definitely tradition of it. And like too much bodily fluid for me.
I make spell jars, but
you're not peeing in them, are you?
Mine don't contain bodily fluids.
Or human.
And then bury them there for some
There
metal
might be some
detectors to
DNA,
find.
some hair, but no bodily fluids.
Yeah, so it's a time capsule of their DNA. It's a tooth, hair, and urine, isn't it? Now we can clone them.
There you go.
We got all the DNA we need right there.
Bring the old witches back.
All right, now, like I said, we have a lot of UFO stuff, and we talked about the UFO report or whatever, Congress, supposed UFO disclosure. I don't know if my news thing's going to happen. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. So I'll let you guys know if it does, but I did do an interview on this subject. But Australia has their own UFO report, and I found this is interesting, from Unexplained Mysteries. Declassified 58-page document, at least theirs was 58 pages, detailing Australian UFO encounters reported between 1957 and 1971 has recently been turning up some interest, rather bizarre stories. Of course, this is an old report. Of particular interest is a 4-page section which compiles evidence of weapon systems from approximately 1,000 UFO reports. The alleged weapons outlined in the report include one that can interfere with electrical circuits, one that causes paralysis, and one described simply as a heat ray. Some of these snippets featured in the report are out there, to say the least. An expert from the 848, for instance, reads, vehicles stalled in vicinity of a brilliant, transparent, mushroom-shaped object having occupants with cat-like faces, quadrangular protuberance underneath. Another, which comes from France, is even more bizarre, so we have some from other countries. When DeWittle attempted to intercept two dwarfs, a strong orange light was emitted from the object, and rails track about 20, was that supposed to be 20 feet away, due to no lost use of speech and legs until the light has been switched off. So, like, he was paralyzed. So, we're getting other countries are a little more open. Some are not. Like I said last week, Britain's like, we don't care about UFOs. Yeah, sure you don't. You just don't care to share. Think you know a lot. But, like I said, the real UFO disclosure is us. Everybody coming out with their experiences and sharing it and feeling open to. And that's the only good thing about this, is more people are open to sharing their experiences. Like this gentleman from Devon got this picture over a seafront I find very interesting. It's on Daily Mail. Moment student captures large UFO hovering over Devon seafront at night for 10 seconds. A student who was left shocked after photographing a large UFO hovering for 10 seconds over the Devon seafront. And now this article is going to go nuts. What the heck? Let me see. Matthew Evans, 36, spotted the bright unidentified object while peeping out of his top floor window last week. The photograph shows 4 bright lights in a triangular shaped formation lingering in the night sky. Now, my only question is, it seems pretty high up there. That it's not something out in the ocean, like way back there. But if it was, it'd be huge. Those lights would be huge if that was just an illusion of a ship out there, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? My articles keep tripping out, so I have to talk here because I don't have my article for it.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the water.
The mature student managed to, mature, he's 36, to whip out his phone and take a picture, but within seconds the subject, this article, Daily Mail, you're doing it to me too. Maybe I shouldn't blame him, it's my stupid phone and internet, I don't know. But it keeps flipping out on me. Unexplained Mysteries doesn't do that to me, but Daily Mail, it's going nuts. I can't read the article. Stayed in one spot long enough for me to pull out my phone and get these snaps. Then it quickly zoomed off at some speed, and I couldn't see anymore. And if it zoomed off fast, then yeah, sure. I don't think that was a ship out in the ocean, especially how the perspective there, it doesn't look like it. That looks huge.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be huge up in the sky, let alone if it was actually in the water out in the distance. That article is messing up on me. So I guess when we move on.
Yeah, that's
The next one is from Canada.
Canada.
Canada. Told you. I was going to say, I'm giving it away a little bit there. Don't much for an article story. This is New York Post. Yeah. 5 UFOs were spotted in the skies of Carbonear. And see, all my articles are flipping out. I'm going to have to restart my phone or something because, man, I cannot hold an article. We're spotted in the skies over Carbonear, Canada, as spectators debated what the floating orange lights might be. And you're going to hear them arguing about it. I'm going to restart my phone while we're waiting for the next, while we watch this, too, because this
It's
is
an
interesting
commentary in this one.
Yeah, now you're going to know probably right away what I'm going to say. I'm going to totally disagree with our objective observers in this video. Go for it.
Thinking up in there. See through UFOs. Told ya. I seen them last night.
Oh,
Told ya.
You sure they're not Chinese lanterns? No, and they're way too
Her
big.
friend. Sure they're not Chinese lanterns?
No.
Oh, no.
And you don't show up big like that. They're only little tiny things. We're telling them to go follow me.
say what?
Let's see how far close we can go. They're not no Chinese lanterns. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's two gone.
Yeah, I hate to tell our Canadian friend.
Stand your way up.
There.
Oh, Chinese lanterns smell.
Chinese lanterns are small. Yeah, no. Well, they can make them pretty big. And I've seen this exact same thing in the sky, and they were Chinese lanterns. Maybe I don't know her perspective. She says they're really big. But I have to say, I would say they're probably Chinese lanterns.
There ain't no Chinese lanterns, big boy.
But this is the thing. Now, we're going to get a lot of this. This is why I wanted to point this video out. We're going to get a lot of this because, now it's more accepted. You got more people looking, more people accepted of the idea, and they're new to it, and they're going to make videos like this. Nothing against her. I understand the confusion. Chinese lanterns have fooled a lot of people, but I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is. The end result of them, which you don't really see in this, it would be the clue if they fade away.
Yeah.
If they suddenly zip away, then no, not a Chinese lantern. No. It's always the end part of the video. Like, you need to show me how they leave.
Yeah.
That's the clue to even CGI. I swear you just watch a good CGI and they'll capture, make it really real, but the end part, when it zooms out or leaves, if they do that, if they actually show that, that's when you're like, oh yeah, that's totally fake.
Yeah.
It's like always the clue. They just can't master that yet. I'm sure they will. Everything's going to be an illusion. Now this next one, we're going through these pretty quick. Darn it. Let's see. This next one was at a traffic stop in South Carolina, mother and son. And a lot of people are saying it's a garbage bag. Just to pre-warn you, that's maybe what it is. I don't know on this one. I don't know if I can say it's a garbage bag. It's possible. But let's see. When Samantha Joyner and her 6-year-old daughter, India, was a daughter, went for a drive in Goose Creek, South Carolina last week, they didn't think it would turn into something they'd remember for the rest of their lives, but that's just what happened. This is from iHeartRadio. While on the Highway 52, they saw something in the sky that was so bizarre, Shanika got out her phone and started to film it. Perplexed, India said, "Oh my God, there's something in there. A gray object either floats or flies by them through a cloud. The object moves in midair," and India asks, "Is that a ship?" Her mom responds simply, "Look, India, can only share in my disbelief," and says, "What is that?" So go ahead and play that. Listening audience, it looks like it's morphing, so maybe it is a bag in the sky, but man, it looks way big. I zoom in on this too.
There's something in there. I can see.
Yeah, it looks like a cloud when it first starts out.
I don't know where you're going.
Was it a ship?
Look.
See, the kid knows already. Is it a ship?
Was it a ship?
I know. That's my zoom ins of it. See, I could definitely see how it might be a garbage bag floating up there, but it'd be pretty. I would think it would have to be a pretty big garbage bag. Could be. I mean, but it's weird how it starts out. It looks like a cloud. It looks like just a floating little cloud, and then it changes its color and then shape. And it's weird. See how it looks like a cloud when it first starts out?
Yeah, it's pretty weird looking. I mean, if it's a garbage bag, it's either a really crazy perspective or that's a really big garbage bag.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a garbage bag, but it's odd. It's not. I don't think it's a digicabra like UFO. Something like, I don't think it's manipulated. I think this. I love it when you get the lady, the Canada lady said, "Those are Chinese lanterns." What did Royal say? They say everything's a Chinese lantern. I know, Royal, but I really think those were Chinese lanterns. I mean, could be wrong. Could be wrong.
Call them Chinese lanterns because they're from China.
All right. Next up, I said I had an update on John McAfee. Let me see if I could read this here. Pull this. Damn. I have to redo my phone line there. All right. So his wife posted 2 different comments. This one's kind of long. I'm going to try to get through it. I've been trying to find, this is from Janice McAfee. I've been trying to find the words to adequately express my thoughts. And if you didn't know, they say John McAfee killed himself just recently. No, I don't think so. I have been trying to find the words to absolutely express my thoughts. I am still in shock and disbelief. John should never have spent a day in prison, let alone nearly 9 months. I spoke with him twice the morning of the 23rd, and in our last conversation, we spoke about the court decision to extradite him to the U.S. The decision did not come as a surprise to John, myself, or his lawyers. We were prepared for the Spanish courts to grant the request for the extradition. We had a plan of action in place to begin the appeal process, and we discussed plans for the next stage of his legal fight. The extradition would not have happened immediately. It would have taken many months for at least. Besides that, John had already won a victory before that hearing that 7 of the 10 charges in the case were dropped in the days leading up to the hearing. John was a fighter, and he had so much more to fight left in him. He told me to be strong and not to worry. We would continue to fight all the necessary appeals. His last words were to me, "I love you. I will call you in the evening," but sadly, that never happened. The story of John's suicide was already prepared and presented to the public before I or his attorneys were ever notified of his death. Words cannot describe how enraged I am at the fact that I had to hear the news of John's death via a DM on Twitter. And now it's being conveniently reported that there was a suicide note found in his pocket, something that was not mentioned when I collected John's belongings from the prison, and another piece of information that the media somehow got a hold of before myself and John's attorneys. I appreciate everyone's condolences and the love you have shown for John. You have our support mean more than you know. I have received countless messages. Please forgive me if I do not respond, but as I'm sure you can all understand, social media is the last thing on my mind right now. I need answers and will take time. The investigation into John's death is still ongoing, but I will share what information I can when I can. Until then, I do not accept the suicide. The story has been spread by the malignant cancer that is MSM. They and their unnamed sources are not to be trusted. And then she posted this. I find interesting. This photo to John, or for John McAfee. Some have asked. And this is another post by Janice. Some have asked if I have been able to see John's body. Well, the answer to this is yes and no. I was able to view John's head through a window at the facility where they are keeping him. His entire body from the neck down was covered with a sheet and a blanket. Hashtag justice for John McAfee. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he killed himself. No, I really don't.
No.
Yeah, people are like, oh, his wife's biased and all that. No, I think his wife knew him the best and is not accepting this. And why didn't she not get the suicide note?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's important to her, she should have that. If he wrote it, would you think he wrote it for her? What did the suicide note actually say? Did it have a little guy in a stick drawing with a noose? Yeah. I mean, seriously, we don't even know what the damn note said.
Freaking hell.
Yeah.
Fishy. Fishy.
Everything's getting fishy. You got the Haitian president assassinated by Colombian hired assassins. What do you think that story is going to turn out to be? Probably nothing, because they're not going to tell us. They're going to bury that. But it sounds all very fishy to me, especially in looking into his stance on his country's vaccination policies and everything that went on with Clintons in Haiti. So these people are getting bold. It's the deep state, or whatever you want to call them, or whoever's behind this crap, are getting bold, in my opinion. Things are getting kind of wacky.
Right in front of your face.
Yep, that's basically what's happening. And this last one, I have had some nightmares about the future, very dark, Black Mirror-like nightmares. And one of them, I had this nightmare that people were being forced into these like give up all your property to get out of debt and join these like Bitcoin communities, and you have to live inside them. It was a whole dystopian nightmare I had. They were really technologically futuristic, these dystopian places where you give up everything, but you lived 5-foot cubicles. It was a horrible nightmare. And I worry about our future. Black Mirror tries to warn us, I think. But this article is what I am really upcoming. And it says, by 2030, will we actually own anything? These days, it's still common for people to own most of their things they use on a daily basis. This is Unexplained Mysteries. In the not-too-distant future, however, it has been predicted that we could see a significant shift away from ownership to renting, with even the simplest gadget being borrowed rather than outright owned. In 2016, the World Economic Forum released a video predicting that by 2030, you will own nothing, and you'll be happy. Whatever you want, you'll rent, and it'll be delivered by drone. See, they tell you ahead of time their game plan. Everything that you considered a product has now become a service, a separate WEFSA reads. We have access to transportation, accommodations, food, and all these things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all these things became free, so it ended up not making sense for us to own much. We are starting to see examples of this idea where we once would have bought a DVD to watch movies at home, for example, and now we subscribe to streaming services like Netflix. And if you do buy a movie, you buy a digital copy of it that's totally connected to another service, you know. Instead of owning a car, many people opt to use Uber to get where they need to go. And when a self-driving car becomes the norm, and I've been saying this for years, one might simply rent a car with automatically shows outside your house. Remember Hot Tub Time Machine 2? They go to the future. And the little self-driving cars you call, nobody owns their own car. They call these things, and that is exactly where that's going. There are advantages to renting rather than owning. It means fewer commitments, less responsibilities, and more freedom to change your mind about things. And then move on. I got another picture. That's photo A. Go to photo B. So you get this article. And then I pick up the news, and I see this. Inflation, silver lining, higher salaries. I see this idiotic article from CNBC. Basically telling people, well, yeah, inflation's going to happen and things are going to cost more, but you're going to get paid more. Seriously, this is the idiocy we're dealing with. You know, I mean, literally, that's what we were pushing. If you don't own anything and you have nothing, everything's rented, then you have no freedom. Owning money, you know what money is? Money is freedom. The more you have, the more freedom you have for people not to tell you what the hell to do. And there's a lot more coming down the line where they want to control your lives completely and tell you how to do your life, how to raise your children, what to put in your body. I thought it was my body, my choice, right? No, not anymore. That's where we're headed, people. You don't own a damn thing, then they own you.
Government slavery.
I remember Kevin Malik always preaching against the self-driving cars. And one of the reasons was, like I figured, we probably wouldn't own them. And also, you wouldn't have the freedom to drive it wherever you wanted, you know, because it's all GPS coordinated, and I get that. Go to the next photo, too. Photo C. Should be a photo C. Yeah, run right down there. This is Weimar Republic, 1922. Kids stacking cash because of hyperinflation. You might make more money, but it ain't going to be worth a damn. Jim Lucas, representative of Indiana, posted those two side to side. You know, the CNC article and this one. Thank you, Jim. Because, yeah, I agree. This is what we're pushing towards idiocy. But I already run over time, so we got to head into the commercial break. When we come back, our guests will be Michael Bodine, Psychic and Ghostbuster. He is going to talk about growing up psychic. His books are From Skeptic to Believer, or Growing Up Psychic, From Skeptic to Believer, and A Psychic Life, what it is really like. So we're going to talk about him, what it's really like to be a psychic, especially psychic to celebrities. I'll be interested in that. But he should be joining us after this short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom. where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Of the second kind, physical evidence of a UFO. Close encounters of the third kind, contact. From Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws, comes one of the most ambitious and unusual films ever made. And what you will see has never been seen before. It's a cosmic mystery crossing what many scientists believe will be the next threshold of human experience. It is called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It begins in an Indiana town and leads to one inescapable conclusion. We are not alone. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Certificate A. Now showing at the Odeon, Leicester Square.
The international chart-topping, Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest. The true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is Michael Bodine. He's a psychic and ghostbuster. Michael was when he discovered his psychic abilities. He spent his childhood studying with established psychics and going to psychic camp, somewhat reluctantly, to gain a greater understanding of his gifts. Through the loving support of his mother, May, he was able to mature in his practice while staying true to his own creative style. Michael has been a professional psychic for more than 35 years, giving readings, performing ghost bustings, and speaking at events and conventions. His clients range from celebrities like Melanie, Griffith, and Gary Busey to financiers and dog walkers. His book, Growing Up from Skeptic to Believer, chronicles his life and his path of coming to terms with his gifts. He also is the author of A Psychic Life, What It's Really Like. And then he also has been a writer for a weekly column in True Magazine. We might do readings. I'll ask Michael. I didn't have a sound check with him. We'll ask him here in a second. And if we do, it'll be after maybe the next commercial break. We'll see. But we got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get to our guest. All right, let's see. We got our guest, I hope, here. Michael, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I heard a little snap, crackle, pop. Hopefully that goes away in your audio.
It is. Yeah, I can hear it a little bit too, but it seems okay.
Seems okay. It might be just you coming into the call. Well, welcome to the show. It is a true honor to have you on.
Thanks.
So I want to get into your experiences. It sounds like you've had a kind of a little bit of a crazy life, in the psychic field, growing up with it for 35 years. I would have loved to go to psychic fairs as a kid. You might have been reluctant. I would have been all in. So I'd like to hear about that. Are you going to do readings at all tonight? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter to me. Sure. It doesn't matter to me.
We'll see if we can fit time. If we do.
Yeah, it's a little odd, but yeah, I'd be glad to.
Okay, we'll see. If we take callers later, it's just they end up asking. So I want to get that out of the way to see. And if we do only just a little mini reading, of course, and there's not much, you can't cover a whole thing over a phone conversation.
Yeah,
People's expectations need to be like that. So yeah, tell us what it was like growing up, in a household, where your mom was taking you to these psychic fairs and, grew up with this.
Well, I didn't. So I grew up in this pretty normal house. It wasn't like an old haunted house or anything. My father actually had the house built. It was a nice house, big house, and everything was pretty normal until I was like 7, and then we started having all these weird experiences. And the whole psychic stuff, none of us really believed in all that kind of thing. We didn't. I mean, Bewitched had just come out, so we were kind of excited about that, but we didn't think anything of it. We thought it was just kind of stupid. But my brother was just learning how to play the drums, and he sucked. He was really bad. And he was downstairs and he was tinkering away, and we were all sitting eating dinner upstairs. And it was bad, it's tink, tink, tink. And then it sounded kind of good for like 5-10 minutes. And then that stopped, and all of a sudden we heard the door fly open and the drums being knocked over and the cymbals being knocked over, and he came flying upstairs. And in my family back then, men didn't show fear, or males didn't show fear. So when my brother came upstairs and he was scared, it was like a really big deal. It was like he was really scared. And it's a bit of a long story, but what happened was after trying to get it out of him for a long time, he said that he was down there playing the drums and he saw this guy come through the wall and park himself right in front of where he was playing. And he got so scared that he just kind of put his head down and started playing. And then he asked this thing to leave, and it did. And that's when he came from upstairs.
And played the best drum solo of his life.
Exactly. But, none of us really believed him. It was like, yeah, whatever, but there was this kind of weird feeling in the air. And then about a week later, we were all sitting around eating dinner again. And this time with him, because he wouldn't go downstairs without like a priest or something. And
can't blame him.
We had and we had this lazy Susan, and the salt shaker gets up. And it's a weird thing, because it's not like there was organ music playing in the background. And it wasn't like there was, it was just weird, because the salt shaker gets up, moves across the table, and drops between my mom and my dad. And it was just so weird, because we were looking at it first, and then we all stopped talking, and we were looking at this thing. And I figured he had just figured a way to do a pulley system or something, because we had been giving him so much crap about inviting his friends over for dinner and stuff. But anyway, when it hit the ground, it was just weird. And we all, like, what the hell was that? And my brother was like, see, there is something in this house. And again, we still didn't believe him, but there was that weird feeling in the air. And then stuff just kept happening, and it didn't happen all at one time, or it didn't happen to just one of us. Sometimes, like during the day, you'd be walking and somebody would tap you on the shoulder and you turn around and nobody was there. Or you'd open up a cupboard and something would slide out in your hand, And it was all stuff that you just thought, well, that's weird. But you didn't, it wasn't like we equated it to ghosts or anything like that. And but my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she was having most of the experiences. And so one day my mother used to collect Bibles, which I didn't know about till that night, but she used to collect Bibles. And one day she went up to her bedroom, and all her Bibles were stacked up on her bed in kind of this weird way. And it kind of freaked her out a little bit. And she figured that one of us had done it before we went to school. Because when I got home from school, I got yelled at for playing with her Bibles. I don't even know what the hell she was talking about. But she when I got home, she said, don't play with the Bibles. That was really bad. Just leave them alone. It's kind of creepy around here anyway, so just don't do that. And none of us knew what she was talking about. But she put the Bibles all away, and she made dinner, and we were just doing stuff. My dad was on a business trip that night. And she went upstairs to grab something, and she screamed. And we all ran upstairs, and the Bibles were back in the bed stacked.
Oh my
in
God.
This weird thing. And I think for her, that was the turning point for when she just said, okay, I got to go talk to somebody. And, this is a long time ago.
So this was the catalyst to her going to like psychic fairs or getting into the psychic? Really?
Oh, no, the psychic fair was a whole different thing. Like we still didn't want to believe in this whole psychic stuff.
Right.
My mother went to our minister, and our minister told her that it was more of a gynecological kind of this situation. Like there was something physically wrong with her. So she went to a gynecologist, and the gynecologist said that, no, I think you're mentally screwed. Anyway, she kept going to all these different places.
Yeah.
And she ended up talking to this psychologist lady, Mrs. Roop, like who worked out of her van,
Oh, jeez.
I mean, she was great. She was a great lady, but she was kind of on the edge, And she told my mom that there's this lady. I live in Minneapolis. She told my mom that there was this medium in St. Paul named Mrs. Olson, and that she should go see her. And even then, my mom didn't want to do it. But when she went to after she got done talking to Mrs. Roop, she got home, and everything was just all over the place again. And so she just said, screw it. She has to call. So she called Mrs. Olson, who knew everything that was going on, and explained to my mother that her and my sister, I have a sister, Echo, who's also a psychic. And her and my mom, she said to come in for a reading. And so she did. And my mom loved all this stuff. My mom loved it. Like I said, I was like 7 at the time, and I didn't really know that.
But was that your mom's first like introduction to it? Really, was this experience?
Yeah, and she loved it. She thought it was great. And and my sister Echo wasn't that great about it. She thought, no, I'm not going to be a psychic. Because this Mrs. Olson told her that she was going to, her and her 3 of our 4 kids, because there's 4 of us in the family, and I'm the youngest. We're going to do psychic stuff, and nobody wanted to hear that. That's like the stupidest thing you want to hear. And so everybody was depressed about it except for my mom, who was really excited. But my mom started to research it. And back then, psychics were underground. It was considered like a mental illness, And and so you had to kind of go into under basements of churches and stuff. And that's my mom.
Uh-oh. Oh, we lost audio, Michael. We don't hear you. It doesn't say you're muted on here, but are you there?
There, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Sorry about that. Somebody was calling.
Sorry.
My mom started going to this church where there's other psychics, or so-called psychics, people that were just learning about this stuff, would go. And then they started coming to our house because my dad and my mom were playing chess one time. And because my dad loved chess. And
Yeah.
one of the pieces got up and moved across the table and dropped on the floor. And my dad said, "Screw it, I'm out of here." So he left. he left. But then when he left, it was like my mom the doors just opened for all these different psychics and all these different people that were learning stuff. And so that's how I kind of grew up, was just around all these people that were kind of, there was like people that were into witchcraft and people that were into healing and people that were just learning all sorts of different stuff. And it was I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was weird. It was weird because my friends would come home from school and they'd see ghosts. And it was embarrassing because I didn't know what to tell everybody, and my mom was always, they were really into it. Nobody really knew what they were doing, but we were all learning. And part of the learning was going to these psychic camps. And the only reason we had to go to psychic camps was because, like I said, it was pretty underground back then. And so, we would drive for, hours and hours.
I'm not trying to age you, but what year are we talking here for psychic camps?
This is, it was like the late 60s. Early 70s,
oh wow,
late 60s.
Wow, yeah, it's definitely faux pas back then.
Yeah, and it was always weird, and I got dragged because I was the youngest, and my mom, everybody else would just have excuses to be able to get out of it, but I couldn't because I was youngest, and my mom didn't want to go alone. So, and they were always different themes. It wasn't just like sometimes it was about nature, spirits, or about fairies and magic and all that stuff. Or sometimes it was about really weird stuff, or like dimensional things, like there's different dimensions, heady stuff, and I was a pretty...
For a 7-year-old, yeah, that's pretty heavy stuff.
It sucked. It was child abuse, if you ask me. And and so I did everything opposite. Like I knew that, when I was a kid, I saw colors around people all the time, and I just thought everybody else did. I just thought everybody... they called them auras, but at that time I just thought everybody else saw them. And then when they started telling me that was about being psychic, I was like, yeah, whatever. I really hated that idea of being psychic. I just didn't want to do it. And but this stuff kept happening. It was pretty interesting. Some of it was kind of interesting, some of it sucked. But like the teachers that were there, they were like I was scared to death of ghosts, and we were lousy with ghosts. The place always had ghosts because we were, we didn't, like I say, we didn't know what we were doing. So people were like using a Ouija board and doing weird stuff.
Just open the doors now. Well, I'm still thinking as a paranormal investigator, just about your childhood and how this kind of just all started out of nowhere. Like usually as an investigator, I try to I ask a billion questions to try to get to like the catalyst in a situation like this. Yeah. But you don't know one unless it's just the land or the property. It's really odd.
Well, so it was explained to us that my mother's mother was supposed to do something with her psychic ability, and she never did. And that it was up to our family because we were supposed to do something with it. I thought that was kind of stupid myself, but that's how they explained it to us, was that it was something that we were supposed to, because it has affected my life. And it's affected my sister's life, and it's my other sister too. And so I can kind of see it now, but at that time it just seemed kind of lame. It just seemed like, that made no sense. It just seemed random that we were, especially as a family. But
right.
So I started ghost busting when I was probably 8 or 9 because I didn't want to. I just had to. I didn't have much of a choice. I just had to go to these haunted houses, and they scared the crap out of me. I was scared to death of that stuff because things were, flying around, and there was, it was bad. And I didn't get over my fear probably till I was probably 13 or 14, maybe 15 or 16. I don't know. It took me a while, and but it was all, it was all supposed to be this organic, natural thing, and I started doing readings probably when I was 19 or 18, and I'm 60 now, and so and when I did it, I didn't do it because I wanted to be a psychic. I did it to prove to everybody how bad of a psychic I was. I just I would just tell people stuff. Like I'd meet people at bars or loud restaurants, Yeah. And because back then everything was very ceremonial. Like you'd go in and you'd give spirit water, and everything was really quiet and dark. And for me, I just tried to do the opposite, just because I didn't want to have the psychic stuff. So, and then people started wanting to talk to me for some reason, because I wasn't like that guy. So
Yeah.
it just kept building and building and building.
Well, I saw in the notes I had from the publicist, too, is something that you had from the Psychic Fair, a dangerous ghost friend that's been with you a good part of your life. Well,
Okay,
what is
so-
that about?
Okay, so one of these camps, there was this
Yeah.
guy that drew pictures of your like people. He called them your guardian angels, but this guy wasn't a
Gotcha.
guardian angel. And his name, this kid was growing up with me on the other side. His name was Jerry. And so I go to this camp, and I'm not into it anyway. I was in a bad mood, and this guy said, "Hey, I knew you were coming. I drew you a picture." That's how they talked. They always talked like that, like the winter winds when the butterfly flies. They never talked normal. They always
Come with me, child. Come with me, child.
Exactly.
Come into my back room with me, child. I'm gonna draw
He
you a
was just
picture,
creepy.
child.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You're gonna die in there.
So I thought for sure, this guy was just some sort of perv. But he, I
Right.
go into his tent, and my mom's
His
like,
tent.
"Oh no, he's okay." Yeah, and I'm like, "Shut up," So I'm
Parent your
for
word to
sure
your mother there.
Anyway, so I go in, and there was this chalk drawing of a kid my age, but who didn't look like me. And it was like there was something familiar about this kid. And this guy tells me that this guy, his name is Jerry, is growing up with me on the other side, and that we're friends, and he's watching over me. And I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, right. I was probably 8 or 9 then, and so I bring the chalk drawing home with me, and I just kind of kept it on the wall. And at first it was. Now this is going to sound weird, but whatever. I could hear this guy's voice. It was a different voice in my head. Look, and if
Ooh.
you think I'm schizophrenic, I'm all for that. I
Right.
wouldn't mind being diagnosed with some sort of mental disorder. In fact, I've had my head examined literally like 4 or 5 times, where they stick prods and stuff like that in your head. Just because I was way more okay with being mentally ill than I was psychic. But anyway, this guy, I could hear this guy's voice, and he would tell me stuff, and he would be encouraging, and it was kind of like a nice thing, like he would help me with some people, like, how to deal with a certain person, like some guy was being a jerk at school and what to say, or like in tests, I'd get answers with tests, and it was like we had we started to develop a relationship. I know that.
Wow.
Sounds like Ghost and Mrs. Muir stuff, but it was nice. It was nice. But then, my family, my brother and my sisters, we all kind of got into drugs and alcohol. I don't know why, but we just thought it just seemed like a natural thing to do.
Ooh.
And so.
Well, it was the 60s, right? The 70s.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And so so upstairs was all the light and the tree huggers and the hippies and all that sort of stuff, and then in the basement was all the people that were doing drugs and drinking. And so there's kind of like a dark and a light thing going on there.
Yeah.
And but Jerry really liked it. He liked to feel me when I was stoned or drunk or whatever, and he kind of went a little dark. He kind of went dark.
Ooh.
And so then
yeah.
he started scaring my friends and showing up, and there was this kid at school that was he was like he was a bully. I mean, he would just terrorize people. And he was walking down the street one time, and this guy taps him on the shoulder, and it's Jerry, because he had come to the house, and because I have a tendency to get myself into trouble because I have a mouth, and I tend to be kind of a wise ass, and I think I was giving this guy crap for whatever reason, and so he was mad at me, and so when he was going home, he turns, and I told him about Jerry. I said, here's Jerry, and he didn't believe in that stuff, and I didn't care if he believed it or not, but when he was walking home, he turned around and he saw Jerry. He claimed that he saw Jerry, and it scared him to death, and he just ran home. So stuff like that, he was doing stuff like that, or he would jump in me, and I wouldn't I would kind of black out for a little bit, and I'd wake up and I'd be standing on the roof looking like I was going to jump, you know, weird stuff like that. And
that's not good.
No, but you know, like I say, we didn't really know. We were like, yeah, whatever. Let's just experience this, man. You know, we didn't really know.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. So we learned the hard way. But it got so bad with Jerry that our teacher, her name was Birdie. Birdie was like probably 800, maybe 900 years old. I swear to God, this woman, she had one tooth in her head. She could hear your thoughts. She was scary. She cackled, and powerful as hell though. But Birdie told us that that we needed to get rid of Jerry, and so I got rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to go through this whole exorcism thing and all that. But then I saw him, you know, on a couple ghost bustings, and I've run into him a couple times. He's a dark dude, man. He's dark.
Well, I'm just really curious because I mean, we've had people have had, you know, these spirits that are with them, or if it's a human spirit at all, you know. But you know, he said I remember that you said the psychic that originally started all this said he was growing up with you. So as you got older, he got older. Well,
technically, I guess I never saw him really get really that old. I don't, you know.
No.
And this guy was wrong. He wasn't a guardian angel. This was just an entity that was just growing up. But you know, it sounded cool. You know, like I have a guardian angel. He's growing up with me. You know, it sounded great, but it really wasn't. And you know, the last time I saw him, he did look older. Oh my God! The last time I saw him, I went to I had to do a ghost busting, and this one was a bad one. It was where they're doing a lot of black magic stuff, and they're, you know, whatever. It was just a darker one, and I go into the bathroom, and I you know, things were pretty bad that night. They were drawing stuff on the wall, you know, while you're looking at the wall, and whatever. They were just doing stuff. And I turn around and there's Jerry, and I hadn't seen him forever. And I was kind of glad to see him, but at the same time it scared the crap out of me because this guy knew me, you know, and he knew he was there with all the stuff that I went through. So he knew how strong I was, and he knew what I was capable of. And so it was kind of, you know, the element of surprise was not there, at least for me. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I mean, we worked it out, but he was older then. He was older. Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, you know, I had an experience with when I was a kid, not knowing I was talking to spirit, was my unborn sister. And to me, you know, at the time as a kid, as what I remember her as is having dark hair and grown up. She was never born. So the interesting idea of spirits on the other side that, you know, they can grow up or be different ages even if they weren't even born or whatever is interesting. But I have a feeling that Jerry was not really human spirit. I don't know. I mean human spirits can be nasty, you know, but I don't know.
This guy, he was different. It was a different very different energy than, you know, I'm used to dealing with dead people. Jerry was a very different thing. Yeah, he was a different thing. But and you know, it was almost like Voldemort. You didn't want to mention his name after a while because I was so weary of that energy. I mean, his energy was really strong and really dark, and so we were best of buddies at one point. Now we're kind of not. I don't want to say enemies, but we're on opposite ends. I don't screw with his stuff, and he doesn't screw with my stuff.
Well, the fact that whatever this entity was encouraged you into drug use and then took you over. I always, you know, they always say drug use, it makes it easier for these things to possess you or, you know, affect you. And obviously you had evil intent if that was the case.
Yeah. Well, he liked it. You know, and it was, well, you know, it was fun when you were a kid. It was, whatever. He liked it. And he wanted to continue. And I had to go through rehab a couple times. And he didn't want to stop. He wanted to keep going. He liked our relationship. And I think that's what he felt, betrayed by me. Like I wasn't, I stabbed him in the back. So he was really pretty angry with me. And I was pissed off at him because I didn't want to wake up on under a bridge someplace drowning.
You're living in a van down by the river.
Exactly.
With Jerry the ghost. You know, but that's the thing. People do have these lives. You know, people have, people don't talk about it. They have people, companions. Some people do. I've seen it. I've heard it doing this show for 6 years. And, you know, they have spirit companions. And I don't know if you want to call them guardians. I think they were way up into your business, you know, to be guardians.
I do a lot of, I do it. Well, I used to do a ton of Ghostbusters. I'm sick of them now, so I don't do them as much. But
Right.
I run into a lot of situations where one person's being intimate with a ghost, and they're a pain in the butt to get rid of because, they have a personal relationship, and that's a lot more
Sexual.
normal.
That's energy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's usually women with male spirits, but I've run across a couple males with female spirits.
That's more rare. I'd say that's got to be more rare.
It is, and it's always so weird because
Yeah.
it's always so weird when it the first time it ever happened.
Well, people are lonely. People are lonely. I mean, I can get the
agree.
appeal.
I agree.
You
me too.
can have a companion that's always there with you, and nobody has to know
Talking
about.
safe sex here. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe safe. Until your head starts spinning backwards and you're spitting up pea soup.
Right. You're like,
Maybe
Satan is
safe.
King, Satan is king. Yeah, that's not good.
But doing these fairs, you had to run in, met, especially in the early days before, TV was covering this like it does now. I mean, it was a total perception. I would love to time travel with you, go back there and see the people you would have met during these fairs. I mean, where did it even hold these things at in the 60s?
Oh, man. Okay, so they were mostly within the 5-state area of Minnesota. Michigan, but sometimes they were, we'd go to Colorado. Sometimes it was mostly out of state, and it was always kind of like a secret handshake kind of thing. Like it was like The Hobbit.
Yeah.
You'd drive, and you'd go into these woods, and it would be all very hidden. And that's the kind of cool thing, because I never knew what kind of fair it was going to be. Like, sometimes there were boring fairs, but sometimes there were. One time, the most interesting for me was we had driven forever. We went to Michigan, this northern peninsula of Michigan, and I didn't want to go. I was in a bad mood, and I was older. I was probably I was probably 13 or 14, and we drive to Michigan, and my mom was really vague about what was going to happen there, and she said, as we started getting close, she said, "Look, this one's a very different one. Okay, so just don't be your normal obnoxious self. Just please, just
don't be
shut
13.
Up and don't be 13. Just shut up and do this, okay?" And I'm like, "Mom, come on, I didn't even want to come." She goes, "No, seriously, this is like serious." Like, she was really serious. We get there, and right before we pull up, she goes, "Okay, you're gonna meet vampires today." And I said,
"What?
Whatever." And she goes, "No, please, just don't say anything stupid, okay? Just be respectful." And I'm like, "Vampires?" She goes, "Yeah, vampires." And I said, "Okay, that's not interesting." So we go, and there's this tent, and there's a bunch of people in this tent. And we come in through the back, not through the back. We come in the backstage, not the backstage.
Yeah.
At the whatever, we come through, and on stage there's a family. There's a guy standing at the podium. He's talking, and then there's a boy and a girl and a mom. And it wasn't like there was anything weird at first when I walked in, but when I looked at them, these people were the weirdest people I've ever seen in my life, ever.
And this is what, like 1970? What is this?
1975, maybe? No, 4?
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay. These people, their skin was like spring rolls. You could see right through them. They're white, and you could see all the stuff. And they didn't have red blood. It was whatever. I wasn't that close. But when they
did their skin look translucent?
Yeah, like a spring roll.
Oh. See, I when I was younger, I used to get into the myth and mythology and like, are vampires real? And I'd try to find everything I could on it. Maybe too much Interview with the Vampire Anne Rice stuff in my mind at the time. But there's reports of people encountering people like this. So go ahead. Sorry.
Right. So they, I didn't know what to believe. I really didn't. But the only person that talked was the father, and he was very calm, very deliberate, and he. But the kids, when I was looking at them, they looked like there was I can't describe it other than they were not of human nature. They didn't seem human.
How old did the kids look, though?
Probably my age. The daughter was a little younger, maybe 12. The son looked maybe 15. The mom felt relatively young, but the dad claimed to be over 400 years old.
Whoa!
And was talking about how that there's a lot of people like him around, that they no longer, most of them don't suck take your blood, because people were asking all these questions, but it's all
Right.
about energy exchange. People, they just take your energy. There, that a lot of the myths weren't true, but they don't. But there is truth about most of them can't come out at night. And then they explain that some can because of some sort of cross pollination. Who knows? I don't know what the hell. I wasn't even listening. I was just so freaked out by, because I swear when I was looking at him, I started to believe him. I started actually believing this guy. He wasn't there. I got the feeling the guy could just eat me at any time. He could grab me and just eat. I mean, it's like, and when you looked at him, you were just mesmerized. It was like you just got sucked into him. And I could see where you'd be totally dazzled by this guy, because he wasn't handsome or anything, but it was the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen in my life. And they just looked at you with this, like, we're food. We're just stupid food. We don't know nothing. And in a sense, they were true. They were right, because there's so much different stuff going on. Like, there's so much more magic in this world than we know about, that humans, most of us, are just so stupid. We like to keep it, one dimensional. And
what it reminds me of, well, yeah, I mean, these energy vampires was, I mean, like in 1975, I mean, that wasn't like a big thing. It wasn't like a commonly known thing. Did you ever, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the radio host, Art Bell, famous radio host.
Yeah,
passed away a few years ago.
I was supposed to be, either I was on it, I don't remember.
He had, back in the 90s, he had a guest on called Neo a couple times, who claimed to be a vampire in the exact description of what you're giving of these people. And this is the 90s, okay? Yeah. And he talked about people, I'm sorry to get sidetracked on this, but my mind's blown. He talked about people like this, like that has been, but that there's a secret society of these vampires. They're energy vampires. Some do drink blood, but they really don't. And they like have a whole religion, and it had been going on for long, 400, they have 400 or 500-year-old vampires, and they live off of people's energies and stuff like that. Yeah. And you were seeing this in 1975. That's why I think so. Yeah. That's fascinating.
But he wasn't, the way he was talking about it was very matter of fact. He was trying to educate us.
Yeah.
He wasn't like being boastful or anything. If anything, he was very humble in his delivery. But you could just tell this guy had way more power, way more energy. Maybe not energy, but just something about him, And that camp stayed with me for years. I didn't say anything to anybody, because I thought there's no way in hell anybody's going to believe me. But the thing was, I believed what I saw. I know it's true. People can say whatever they want. I know exactly what I saw. And I'm a freaking skeptic. And I know exactly what I saw. And I know for a fact that those guys were not normal people. And I believe that they were what they said. I really believe it.
That's so interesting.
And if you go there and you see it and you tell me differently, fine. But anybody that was there and everybody that was there felt the same way. These people were not like normal.
And I've heard these stories. Cool. But I've heard the stories of people like this, and that they're like a secret underground. They've been around forever, and that they are real like vampires in that sense. And it's so fascinating. Anybody knows a real life vampire? Please give me a call. I'd love to do an interview.
Yeah, but see, that was the theme: is that there's so much more out there than what we think. We're so based in fear, we're so based in control, and all this kind of stuff. That and I think that's what this guy was saying, is that just, if you guys really want to have an open mind, then you should know, first of all, that we exist and that there's other people like us. And not only that, but then, other dimensions and stuff, heady stuff, but
I'm all in,
and
though.
Time stuff
I love this. Alan here in the chat room says, energy vampire and What We Do in the Shadows is awesome. I know exactly what you're talking about, Alan. It's a show called What We Do in the Shadows, a movie too, but there's an energy vampire in it.
Yeah. I love that
have you seen, there's a TV show, and now the TV show has an energy vampire in it, and it's freaking hilarious. Yeah. You got to see the TV show. It's got 2 seasons, and the energy vampire in that, you got to see it. You got to see it. It's so true, because people do suck your energy. This guy like literally trolls people online, and his eyes glow blue from like the energies from people. It's hilarious. You got to see the energy vampire and What We Do in the Shadows. I love that. Yeah. I wish you would love it. You would love it. Yeah. But I've always, when I was a kid, I got into Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire novel before the movie even came out. I got really fascinated with vampires and like, do they exist? And like, ran into a lot of stories like yours. That's incredible.
And,
1975.
I wish I would have paid more attention to what they were saying. I was just so freaked out by what I was looking at, and I was just glad when he said that he wasn't gonna suck our blood because oh God, we're all gonna be turned into vampires. I was just relieved when I heard that. But everything else, I got little bits and pieces because I'm telling you, it was the coolest thing. Their skin glowed. It was like this effervescent thing.
Just don't say they were sparkly.
No, they weren't sparkly. No, yeah. And after
we don't need Twilight vampires.
I'm sorry.
We don't want Twilight vampires now.
Oh no. Yeah. So, but I didn't. Yeah, and my mother and I, we didn't say anything to anybody for a long time because we just thought there's no way anybody's going to believe us.
Yeah. What was your mom's reaction to all this? She's the one that took you there.
Well, she was like, see, honey, there's more than what you think in this world. She was the one that was trying to teach me about all this stuff. But I could tell she was basically like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I don't think she was pretty open-minded. So, but you had to see these people. Oh my God!
Right.
They look so amazing. And I haven't seen anybody since like I wish I had, but I haven't. I know that they exist. I know that they're around. I know, and they said there's a lot more of them than we know, and it's not just in that region, but all over. And yeah. So I'm sure there's probably more now.
Well, according to that Neo guy that was on Art Bell show in the 90s, there's a whole secret society, and they I think they even worshipped, like they had a satanic Bible they worshipped and stuff like that. But he was like all like talked about it so positively.
This guy wasn't didn't have that satanic kind of deal. He was just, it was like a live and let live kind of guy. Well, live and let die kind of guy.
They might not let you in on the satanic Bible part in 1975 yet, though. Right, you know what I'm saying? He might have not included that part. It was a little bit heavy at much to talk about being a vampire. We'll just leave the satanic Bible part out of it. But Neo didn't care on our bell.
Sacrifice. Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's funny because Minneapolis has a big, huge witch contingency. There's a lot of witches around here, and they there's all these different covenants and they're
witches and bodily fluid. We were talking about that at the beginning of the show on our news.
Really? Well, I don't know what, I always seem to bump into one of them, and they, like I say, I get my mouth into trouble because I don't care what you do. I really don't. But some of them like to get in my face and talk about how cool they are. It's like, I don't really care. It's like, great.
Right.
Do your thing. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter.
You're a dime a dozen in this new age world, lady.
Yeah. Witches, hang on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, aren't you special? You're a witch. Get in line with the other 100 over there. No, yeah, I'm just kidding. I know lots of witches. They're all good. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, they're all good. But some of them, they have, and they like to pretend that some of them are very dark and all that stuff. Who cares? Do what you want, but just. Yeah.
So when did it start developing for you? I mean, obviously you had this whole interaction with Jerry. You started hearing his voice, but when you really, and you had ghosts within your house. But when did it really come to you to that you're seeing dead people, that you had to really accept it? And like you say, you started reading when you're 19. But when was it you really okay, yeah, I'm really seeing dead people. I really can communicate with them. When was that acceptance for you in your life? Because it seems like you were trying to be reluctant to your mom about it, although during these psychic fairs. But at some point you had to accept it.
Well, when they were when I was probably 4 or 5, my sister got in a car. She got bucked off a horse, and they had to take her to the hospital in an ambulance. And when I was a kid, or when I was that 4 or 5, I heard the ambulance go by, and I knew my sister was in it. And I could just tell. I could see her, I could feel her, and I just knew she was in it. And I thought everybody knew that. I thought everybody, that's the way they were. But as I was being taught all this stuff, they were telling me, no, that's psychic stuff, which I didn't want to hear. But I learned that I had it all along. I just didn't equate it to being psychic or anything. I just thought it was like intuition.
The normal routine, the normal sensory perception. I know the same exact feeling I went through as a kid, yes.
Right. So
I just think it's normal.
Yeah, exactly, because it is normal. It's not like the gates of heaven open up and then it says, hey, yo. It's just a natural voice. You just know. And when I started doing readings, oh God, I went. Well, there was always ghosts at the house, and I said, I didn't like them, and I was very uncomfortable with them. And I think when I was 12, So we lived in this cul-de-sac, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I was a little older. I don't remember when it was, but
Yeah.
I I was scared to be alone. I was scared to be at home by myself because there were so many ghosts at the house. And so I
Right.
would sit in the center of this cul-de-sac, and Minnesota is freaking cold in the winter, and I'd sit and wait for somebody to get home. And finally, at one point, I got so sick of sitting there waiting for somebody to get home that I just said, "Screw it! I'm just going to deal with my fear of ghosts," and which is great because I did. I well, it's a long story, but I did
Yeah.
get over my fear of ghosts, and since then, I think it was just much easier for me to process like the information, like when I was doing readings, when people would show up, because I'm not a medium. I think mediums,
Right.
it doesn't really do it for me, but and not that there's anything wrong with mediums, they're great people, but I'm not really that guy, and I'm not a channel because that's stupid. Not that there's anything wrong with being a channeler, but I'm a future guy. I'm just
So, like,
just a future. I
prediction.
see yeah.
Or
Like
opportunities.
like in my little world, I see
Yeah.
everybody has opportunities coming in their life, and sometimes people take them, and sometimes they don't. And I can usually tell whether the person's going to take them or not, and then what's the result and this and that. And it's just
Right.
more interesting to me because I can see whether I suck or if I'm accurate, if my timing's bad, or whatever. It's interesting to me. Past life stuff is so dumb. I mean, not that it's dumb. I mean, it's got its place, and people need to hear that stuff. But I don't. How can you prove that?
Yeah.
And
No, I have a
can't-
past life regressionist on Chris Lee, and he can't stand psychics that do the whole, like, this was your past life. He's like, what does it mean to you if you don't see it? If you don't feel it,
Right,
what does
right.
it mean to you? Somebody can tell you or whatever, and it's not going to prove anything.
Right. And I think it's like a lot of times we carry on different new relationships this time that we had in the past, and sometimes that's helpful. But everybody was Cleopatra or something like that. Whatever. and I can't find my keys most of the time, so I'm not one of those psychics that finds stuff. So
Right.
I'm a pretty limited guy when it comes to being psychic, and so when I do readings for people, it's all about opportunities that are coming up and whether they should take it or not. And that's why I work mostly with people like in the entertainment field, not because they're great, because they're not, but it's because it fits what I do. It just because those guys, like most of the people that call me, like 8 out of 10 people
Yeah.
that call me, I can't do them because I know they're not going to do anything. I know they're just going to sit around and drink, or they're going to join a bowling league, and I can't charge somebody $300 to tell them to join a bowling league. But if somebody but some, like an actor or a writer, those guys live for that stuff. They got to have opportunities. So that's why
Right.
it works good for me. It doesn't, I don't want to suck. So I don't want, I got to tell somebody that I know is going to take the opportunity. So as far as psychic stuff, that's what I do. And I'm not that deep of a guy. And I don't really care all that much. So it's, I'm not for everybody. And there's a lot of great psychics. I'm one of those psychics that believes in sharing. Like if I can't get something on you, I'll give you to somebody else, because there's a lot more people that are a lot more understanding, and like I say, they care.
Or they don't need a psychic prediction. They don't need a prediction of their future. They're dealing with
Yeah.
stuff in the now, or something in their
Yeah.
past, or
Right, right.
every
Right.
psychic I see has their different abilities, and that they're
Yeah,
strong in.
exactly.
And, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't, yeah.
Oh, but for the psychic thing, then, I mean, like, because you obviously having different mediumistic abilities, but you don't, your power's more in the psychic thing. I mean, what got that for you, like, to start seeing the future? I've had experiences where I've dreamt the future and seen it and called predicted stuff, but I never wanted to call myself a psychic or even put that, because there's so much expectation that's so much wrong in people's minds about what a psychic is. I mean, how did that come for you? You accepted I can see or be able to tell the people's future.
Well, okay, so I kept. It was weird. It was like the first time I did a reading, it was like they were showing me a movie, and they were showing me what was about to come up. And then I would tell the person that stuff, and then I started getting feedback about how this was opening up and how that was opening up. And it was like, I didn't, doing a reading for somebody is scary as hell. It still is, by the way, but it's scary because you don't want to look like an idiot. And, and you don't want to, because you got to pull stuff, you got to pull that stuff out of thin air. You can't just say you like ice cream. You have to really, get in there. And so it's scary if you don't come up with something. And people really want that. You know, they want to know. They want to know about this and about that. So it's scary. But I started getting this information about things that, like, if I don't see the person, it's great, because then I can just get the information and just tell them. Sometimes when I'm looking at somebody, they'll give me these facial cues, and they'll be distracting. You know, it makes it worse. Or the more you know about somebody, it's really bad, because
that's gonna be hard for celebrities. You know, you can know a lot about a celebrity. It's all over the internet. You know, so I mean, you're doing future. You can't know their future, but you do know their life. You know, in a sense.
A lot of them a lot of them don't use their real, like, they have different names.
Yeah.
You know, they have, and a lot of them, you know, disguise. I did this reading for this lady one time, and she was disguising her voice and everything like that. And but you know, I got caller ID, and and so at the end I said, "Oh, by the way, I really like your films and this and that," and she goes, "How'd you know it was me?" And her name came right up on the thing, you know. Yeah, it's like
it's like, I'm psychic, lady.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. But it's, they use different, you know, names or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's actually, if you know, like, if you do somebody that's like pretty famous, there's a difference between who they are in that world and who they really are. And so it's much more distracting. Like, a lot of the celebs that I talk to, they're actually the opposite of what you see on screen. You know, they're very, very different. So, and most of the publicity that comes out, you know, people are either paying to be in the limelight or paying to get out of it, you know. And so it's not always, you know, most of the rags are pretty, I mean, they're kind of interesting because some of the stuff is true, but most of it is just kind of stupid.
It's garbage.
So yeah, but you know, some of it's kind of accurate. Some of it's kind of accurate. I'm surprised. But
no, go ahead.
Yeah, some people want to tell me who they are because they want me to be excited about who I'm talking to, but most of them just want a reading. So they'll give me their nickname or whatever, and then just some questions and stuff. But unless I see them, it's tough if you're looking at somebody and you think, "Oh, I just saw that movie. That guy was great in that movie." You know,
right?
But, yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's just different. But
I know my experimentation trying to do readings and stuff was just tarot, and a lot of that had to do with the future in a sense. But it was always like,
tarot's great.
I love tarot. Because it's like, well, it would be like, it's all about, you know, this isn't your exact future. This is going to exactly happen, but this is kind of the roadmap you're on right now. Is what I always felt about it.
Yeah, they're great. So it's great, and you got a visual aid there. You can show people stuff. Yeah, tarot's great.
Yeah. But, you know, do you think, I had one psychic on who was totally a future predictor psychic, and for him, everything was predestined. There was no out of your future. Are you a predestination guy?
No, I don't. I think there's some chunks that are kind of like different opportunities, but, you know, that's what the whole thing about here. See, in my little head, I think that we're all here to learn. I think that we're all here to kind of, to me, it's like Earth is like dum-dum school, where you have to learn some basic stuff. Most of it's emotional, you know, but some of us learn it, some of us don't. And so if it was predestined, I mean, I don't believe that. I mean, I just don't,
neither.
Because there's so many choices. It's all about choices. And maybe maybe that's naive. Maybe there is some whatever. But I know that I've certainly tried to sabotage my life to the point where, you know, it could have been a whole different thing.
Well, your mom was told that 3 of her 4 children would be in the psychic business, and how did that turn out?
It's true. It's true.
I mean, is that self-fulfilling prophecy, or is that predestination, or just the kind of the roadmap?
Well, you know, I purposely tried to avoid it, and I know my other sister tried to avoid it, so it wasn't like, I mean, I think what the medium was, or the psychic was saying, is that there's a good probability that will happen, but I don't think anything's carved in stone.
Yeah.
Like when I see opportunities coming up for people, there's a good like if a person's lonely and you see this relationship coming, there's a pretty good chance they're going to hook up. And if they don't, you know, it's up to them. And I try to guess what they're going to do based on what I know about them from the reading, but nothing's carved in stone. It's all, a lot of times, you know, people surprise me with how stupid they are.
I'm always surprised by how stupid people are, but they are people and humans, and I like to
Yeah, and then I
self-identify as an
remember how
alien,
stupid
not from
I
this
am,
planet. Yeah, I do stupid
Yeah.
things too. I'm not perfect. I've made plenty of stupid choices. And, maybe I'll get a little reading out of you, because when you talk about missed opportunities and that's one of my fears is like, doing this show and trying to get the show out there is like, am I going to miss an opportunity? Am I screwing up? What's life going to throw at me? And, so I can see why people want that kind of reading, especially, celebrities that are looking for opportunities to kind of get a roadmap, to get an idea of what turns are coming up.
Right. And sometimes and most of them kind of have a little bit of a hint about it, but I'm just reassuring them that that's what they're supposed to do. Some of them, okay, so some of it's kind of shallow stuff. It's kind of stupid, like
Well, it's Hollywood. If you're talking celebrities,
yeah, like
big surprise.
They're in a romantic relationship with somebody in a film or a television thing, and then it wraps, and then they have to go back to their normal lives. And sometimes they have a hard time with that crossover, stuff like that, or they don't get along with a certain director or writer or something, and if they can, or their ex-wives are crazy, or whatever, stuff like that. It's not that deep,
Yeah, it's just people making people choices, pretty much.
Yeah, in fact, the more deep the artist gets, the less effective some of them can be as far as their art. Like, especially comedians. I shouldn't say actors. It's kind of different with actors, but comedians, if they get their shit together, they tend to suck a little bit at comedy. It's like if they're depressed,
oh yeah,
they're actually very funny.
Yeah, it's like then they burn out and die. They kill themselves with it. They're funny as heck, but they're killing themselves. Like Chris Farley and John Belushi.
Yeah, exactly. We're all laughing until they're dead. Yeah.
It's such a sad thing as a society. These are these great comedians.
I know, this is Earth. That's why Earth sucks.
Earth sucks. It's stupid, man. It is stupid, and the people that make us laugh seem like they're the ones suffering the most.
And they are.
Like Robin Williams.
Yeah, I know. I was supposed to talk to the guy right before he died.
You're kidding me.
I was going to have any difference, but yeah, somebody asked me to.
No.
A comic friend of mine asked me to reach out and talk to him, and I said, "Well, yeah." And then, he died. So
man.
I wasn't. What was I going to tell him to pay in advance? If I knew he was gonna, I wouldn't know what to say. I would have. I mean, if the guy wanted to go, he wanted to go, and I've run across that a few times where somebody was destined that really wanted to go.
Well, I saw in your bio description or something your publicist sent me that one of the people you had read for, or you read for his wife, was David Carradine, and I thought that might be interesting. Yeah.
No,
we got to go to commercial break.
Yeah,
well, we got to go to commercial break. Maybe we'll come back with that. Are you willing to hang on? We'll take some phone calls. All right, guys, we'll come back. We'll take your phone calls. A little mini reading from our guest tonight, Michael Bodine, author of Growing Up Psychic, From Skeptic to Believer, and A Psychic Life, What It's Really Like. All right, guys, like I said, we're going to go to commercial break, short commercial break, and then we will be right back.
conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content, the Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope.
That'll do. Hello, I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is the extraordinary travels of a young, alone, and broke psychic in the highly anticipated new book from internationally renowned psychic, medium, medical intuitive, and best-selling author Sherry Dillard. Critics have described I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like as an engrossing memoir, an empowering story of how a broken girl came to accept her psychic gift, a refreshing and fun read. I've Never Met a Dead Person I Didn't Like is available through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, and wherever books are sold.
Edgar Allan Poe wrote Spirits of the Dead with a pen dipped in warm blood. You will see the ultimate in terror with this important all-star cast. Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda in Edgar Allan Poe's Spirits of the Dead. Only Poe's demented genius could bring to the screen such horror and evil. Spirits of the Dead stars Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, Jane Fonda, Terence Stamp, and Peter Fonda. Directed by three masters of the cinema, Federico Fellini, Louis Malle, and Roger Vadim. Spirits of the Dead is an adventure in terror beyond your wildest nightmares. Spirits of the Dead in color is rated R.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42. Yes, I thought it over quite thoroughly. It is, it's 42. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question. The ultimate question. Of everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know the question will you know what the answer means.
listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419, or by Skype caller ID OOJBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Psychic and Ghostbuster Michael Bodine. You can call in for a little mini reading. I am going to open up the phone lines now. Phone lines both lines are open. Just remember, if you call in, just wait till I call on you. If I hang up on you, it's because I got somebody else on the line waiting. So just hang in there. We'll try to get to your call. But we will, even if you want to call and ask a question of our guest Michael Bodine, call in tonight. And just remember, it can be short reading. You know, you can only get so much in a short reading, so don't have too high expectations. But maybe they'll tell you about some future paths coming up. I'd like to know for myself. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. All right, we are coming back. Hopefully we got our guest. I think he's getting re-lined up here. Let me see.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Hey,
Oh,
you with us?
I'm sorry. I just had my earbud in my head, and now it fell out, and I can't find it.
Oh, no.
I mean, it was literally right there. Well, that's just the strangest thing. Oh, my God. Okay.
Did you find it?
Yeah, it went in my pocket.
That leaves a good place for it.
Gremlins, I tell you. I got gremlins.
So, yeah, like we left on commercial break. I kind of want to know this before I take a call here. Yeah, so you're able to talk about a little bit about reading for David Carradine or his family?
David! Yeah. We talked a lot. He was an interesting guy.
I bet.
Yeah, but he knew that he was probably gonna get himself in some trouble, but he didn't care. He just didn't. It didn't matter to him.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about it. So yeah, we talked about it. He was a nutty guy. I liked him though.
The question I have, because I've always been suspicious of his death, and the explanation for it is, should I be?
Well, so it was. I think it was. I think he would prefer it if you were. Yeah, I think he'd prefer it if you were.
Okay.
But I think it was his. Yeah, I
felt he stuck his nose into some
it
places
like
that he wasn't supposed to. That's what I felt. Like he's one of
Which
the
he did. Yeah, he
people.
did do that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's what I always wondered, because
he was
there's been a
definitely
lot of. Let me put this here in quotes for people. There's been a lot of suicides that I don't trust, and his is one of them. And his wasn't even a suicide; it was accidental. But even suicide or accidental deaths that I've seen in celebrities, that I'm like, a bit suspicious. Just makes me wonder.
I know there was some weirdness to it. Yeah, but it's funny to me that, it happened to him in Bangkok. I don't know why. That just strikes me as funny. He was kind of a practical joker. He was out there. And so I think I think he likes the fact that people are wondering whether or not really what happened to him.
It'd been an interesting guy to meet, I'm for sure.
He was a very interesting guy to meet. Yeah, I grew up watching Kung Fu, but as soon as I mentioned that, the guy just didn't want to have. Yeah, he didn't really want to talk to me about that.
Well, yeah, he got screwed over. He wasn't very happy. Well, it's sad. Another one that passed it, too soon. We do have somebody on the phone line. Want to get to? We got Zach on the line. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How was your 4th of July?
It was good. Got to spend time with the family. It was fun.
Yeah, I was up in the mountains. That's why I didn't call in last week.
Yeah, it's all right.
But I just have 2 questions tonight. Hey, Michael, it's very nice to meet you, sir.
Hey, Zach, nice to meet you too.
First question to you. My first question to you is related to the different cases that you've gone ghost busting. What was the most challenging case that you had, and what was the outcome from that case?
Well, so the scariest one that I ever went on was when I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, after that, I've been on much worse ones, but things were flying around and doing all that stuff. But I wasn't afraid of ghosts anymore after that point. But the first time that I went to this place. They were trying to sell this house, and they couldn't sell it because every time the people would go in there to look at it, these ghosts would chase them out of there. And I was a kid. I was 10 years old, and my teacher Bertie wanted me to get over my fear of spirits, which had the opposite effect. And so I went to this place with my mom, who was Mrs. Enthusiastic, and so we went there, and I guess a bunch of stuff, like neighbors would see lights and all that stuff in the house. Anyway, they boarded it all up because they didn't want vandalism, because everybody thought this place was haunted, so people were throwing stuff, and so they boarded it all up. So it looked scary as hell. And so my mom decides the best time to go is at midnight, of course. So we drive way out there, and we get there, and the front door is all boarded up. So we had to break in through the back, and it's a bit of a long story, so I won't get into it too long. But that place was the scariest place I'd ever been to. And I mean, there was little babies crying, going, "Mommy, Mommy."
Oh, geez, that's
lights
just as
were
creepy
going
as you
on
get.
and off. Oh my God, I was freaked out, and my
Yeah.
mom was like sitting there eating popcorn, going, "This is great." But the
I love your
outcome
mom.
was they bulldozed the house.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing, but the reason it was so scary was because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't realize that actually I had a little more control over the situation than I thought, but at that time I didn't, and I thought I was dead. I thought I was going to get possessed or killed or whatever, and it was my ignorance that was the scariest part. There's been other ones, like I've gone to places that were built on mental institutions or insane asylums and stuff like that, and they were pretty nasty, like clowns floating, weird stuff. But it didn't bother me very much, just because they didn't bother me. But it was a lot of work because of dealing with the different kinds of spirits there. But and every ghost bus is different. Some of them are really interesting. I gotta say, like I went on one. Like I say, I don't go on a Ghostbusters anymore unless the walls are bleeding. I don't usually go because I'm bored to death of them. I gotta tell you, I'm bored to death of them. But I went to this one because a friend of mine was scared because her husband's house, and it was really cool because I go into the bathroom and it gets all steamy, and the spirit starts writing its name on the mirror. And I thought, well, how the hell can you do that? That's amazing. You guys can do that. I mean, he didn't have the effect that he wanted. I think he wanted to scare me and have me run out. But it was just sometimes it's fascinating how they can do that stuff, and how they can move things and how they can create smells and noise. I think it's fascinating. It's kind of stupid, but I still find it interesting. But I haven't been. It's a tough question because it's not like the first one that I talked about was really that bad. It was just scary as hell. There's been other ones that were really bad that weren't scary.
Because you knew what you're dealing with now and how to deal with it, right?
Yeah, I knew
you
what
should
I was
see
doing.
the.
Yeah,
I got another.
I
got another show recommendation for you. Is Ghost. It's on BBC, and I think they've had 2 seasons. I can't wait for the third. And in that, they have a ghost. He's the only one in the ghost trio in this house that's haunted. You get it from the perspective of the ghost that can move things, and he does this whole thing where he tries to write on a mirror.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. Check out Ghost on BBC. All right, Zach, you said you had one other question, or did you want a little mini reading?
No, I do have a second question.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the vampire story.
Oh, I knew you had to ask.
So Michael, when you were encountering this individual who claimed to be a vampire, did they ever describe exactly what was the process that someone did to become a vampire? And also, did they ever imply or outright state that their necessity to gain blood or energy was an addiction?
Oh, you know what? So both questions I don't know. I just because they might have said that, I was just like still fascinated by their skin. I think they the addiction thing. I was curious as how they how they kept going. The addiction thing, there might have been some mention, but I'd be guessing. And I'd probably be guessing based on what I've seen, since then, or shows or something. But I don't think. You remember, I was pretty young, and I was,
Yeah.
and I was more freaked out by. I should have paid more attention, but I didn't. So, but I think there was some talk about that, but I don't know what they said, and I don't know. Sorry.
Sorry.
I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. Those are good questions. I just don't. I don't think I. Yeah, I was freaked out. I was freaked out just looking at them. I should have asked. Well, I wouldn't. They wouldn't.
You were
have me
13.
ask
You were
anyway 'cause I was a
fascinated by
kid,
the
and
strange-looking
the-
people.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people. There was one guy that was doing all the asking, and you could they were very deliberate. They didn't like sudden movements. They didn't like flashes. They didn't like anything like that. And you didn't want to screw with them. I knew that. I was very clear that you didn't want to piss these people off. But it would take a lot to piss them off, just because like I say, they looked at us like we were just infants. But yeah,
Right.
no. Those are good questions. I didn't. No, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, no.
You were mesmerized.
Oh, was I mesmerized? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
extremely mesmerized. But I know there was a lot
You
of
know-
people asking a lot of questions, so that's true.
What makes me think of is I'm a big Stephen King fan, and he did a novel as a kind of a sequel to The Shining. About a kid who had psychic gifts, and the kid grows up and he has to save another kid from these like psychic vampires. They like literally suck Dr. Sleep. They literally suck the energy out of these kids and kill them to get it. They have to torture them to get the energy out. Well, it sounds a lot like the deep state satanic stuff everybody talks about on the internet, but Stephen King wrote, I don't know if he was influenced by that or not, but makes you wonder if there's like these people are psychic vampires. What kind of energy are they getting, or how far do they go with it?
Well, I
live.
do remember them. Yeah, I remember them not talking about murder.
Yeah, well, that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Right, but I got the sense that there was probably some people that probably got killed along the way. It wasn't like he outright said, we'll suck your life out. But, and I think that he did mention something about it being a benefit to everybody, that everybody get along. So I think that was the kind of the theme of the thing. And I don't know if he was just saying that so that we wouldn't run out of there screaming. But he could, it wouldn't have mattered to him. He'd have just, I don't know, this guy. But he did have a sort of like a kindness to him. Not even kindness, just sort of an understanding. Like, he didn't talk about murder. That was not mentioned. Or
Right.
death.
Well, I wouldn't think he would.
Well, yeah, he didn't. He was kind of like an ambassador,
Gotcha. Talk about murder ain't gonna be a good way to tell people about your culture. Well,
right, it's a
Zach.
buzzkill. Yeah.
Thank you for calling in, Zach.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you so much.
Sorry,
for answering
Zach,
my
I'm not
questions,
very
man.
much
Love
help.
hearing
I
everything
really-
that
it
you're
was-
saying.
Oh, sure. Thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right,
Not
we-
more helpful.
All right, I think we might have lost Zach because I'm getting like phone calls are blowing up. Yeah, he left. So hold on. The phone lines are blowing up here. I got people calling in on different lines. Let's see. Let's see. Wow, we are just sorry. Trying to get my phone lines here together. They're blowing up and hanging up. What is going on? Let me try to take it on this one. See. There we go. I think we got another call here. Doesn't, well, maybe not. See, now it hung up. Huh. So I went from Minneapolis. Let me see if I can take it on the other line. Let me see if I can take it on there. Let's see. We got 763 area code. Who do we got?
It's Brenna.
Hey, Brenna. Thanks for calling in.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Brenna.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm just swell, thanks.
That's good. Good. Yeah, I don't know if you remember me. I'm friends with Sean Paul and Julianne. And I met you about 10 years ago, and you helped
Sean Paul,
me
he's my
out
one
with,
favorite guy. I love Sean.
Isn't he the greatest? And then you referred me to Echo.
Oh my God, Sean just
referred
heard
me
him because
anyway.
Yeah, Sean's
Yeah,
like a
he's
really
awesome.
good magician.
He's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. Yeah. I was just calling for a general reading.
I haven't seen him for a while. Hope he's okay. General, let's talk about the general.
I think so. Let's do it.
Okay, so what do you want to know? What kind of questions? What kind of question would you have if you had to? Because the general one's a tough one. Because a life is like a big thing. You know, it's like walking to a restaurant and going, okay, what do you got? You got to have some kind of little direction there. Just give me anything.
True. Family. Can I ask about family?
Sure. What do you want to know about your family?
I don't know about my situation at home, I guess. My family. I have 2 kids and my husband, and we're working on some stuff right now.
I know, but honey, what do you want to?
I don't know.
Want to know about like what is your specific question about your family? Like, what do you want to know about your family? See, otherwise it's a little bit, and it's in order to get to the. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I don't know. Our biggest project right now, we're building a pool in our backyard, and
Okay, no,
I don't know.
no,
That's the biggest thing I can think of to ask about.
You want to know about your pool? Sounds like a good idea.
I guess.
Honey, I don't know what. I haven't done a pool for a long time. So you want to know about your family, whether it's going to stay intact? You mean that kind of thing, or if there's going to be some gunplay, or is that? Oh.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let's go deep. Let's go deep.
I'm not that I'm a big deep guy. It's just that well, yeah. No, I mean I don't think anybody's going to get killed, but honey, there's some issues to be worked out. Yeah, let's just say this will help bring things to a head.
Okay.
The pool thing. And it's just it's going to be interesting to see how you guys all settle it. How you guys, because everything's kind of going to come to a head here, and then without getting into it too much, it's going to be it's time to kind of deal with some of this stuff. That's all. You'll see. It's it's kind of a personal thing, so it's tough to get too deep here, but there's a lot of stuff there, and it's all about to play itself out. Let's put it that way. The opportunity for that is all coming up.
Okay.
It's just I know that sounds general, but honey, it's I can't. There's personalities. There's all these different personalities, and there's a lot of old stuff there that's going to be brought up, and it's just this and some resentment, jazz, and it's this and that. It's a mixture of stuff. So
too much for a phone call on a show.
Yep.
All right.
Probably, because there's a lot of deeper stuff. I mean, as with every family, there is. So
a lot of deeper stuff there. Yeah. A lot of old stuff that has to be taken care of.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
Yeah, no, and that's usually a little bit of a chat. And not that you need a reading from me to get that, because you could probably get it from any psychic, really. But yeah, it's a little deeper conversation.
Yeah, that's true. It is. Absolutely.
And the problem is it's not going to get fixed right away. It's not going to get fixed right away. It's got you got that mail there it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, it's doable, but it's all coming up for that reason.
So, yeah. Hey, if anything, I do want to say. Yes, it is. But I do want to say to you personally, I'm truly so grateful for the help that I received from you 10 years ago. That really set me on a good spiritual path.
Awesome.
I'm so grateful, and
Oh, that's
it
sweet.
really truly changed my life. Yes, and I'm so grateful. I was very excited to hear that you were the
that's
guest
nice.
tonight, and yeah, it just fills my heart with joy. So thank you. You do
that's sweet.
help a lot of people, whether you know it or not. So, and I get what you're saying.
I got
with
a
the
great
reading.
magic 8
so it's
ball.
all
I
good.
just wiggle the hell out of that thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Your
Well,
deal
thank
is
you
it's,
so
it's,
much for taking my call.
It's a bit of a.
All my best to you and Echo.
Well, it's nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, thank you, Brenna.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. honey.
Yeah,
That was
you
very
bet.
nice
Thanks
of you.
a lot.
Yeah.
You bet. Have a great night, guys.
Sure.
You too.
All right, thanks.
But I can see what you mean, though. You're like, you're doing a reading for somebody that's got some big choice, big decisions, like compared to somebody that's like, yeah, you're going to join a bowling league. Give me a few $100 for that.
And I can't do that. It's such bad karma. My guides just look at me like, oh, nice job, psychic boy. They get pretty pissed.
Well, I mean, so you do feel like you do get your information from your guides and that, right? Like it's not just you.
It's either that or
it's the
Satan.
guides.
I never know. Yeah. No. So the theory is that everybody has guides, and so I try and tap into those people. Sometimes they say stuff, sometimes they don't. It just depends. It sucks when they don't, but when they do, a lot of times they just don't stop talking. It's like you have to kind of get the big points of what they're saying down, and I found out a long time ago that it's not really about the psychic. It's really we're just the messengers. We're just the delivery boys, and so it's just how we deliver. Like some people are just better at delivering things than others.
Doing this show and being friends with psychics and mediums and all that, I've seen them do incredible readings for people on the show, in person, at events. I've seen them do incredible, but then they'll get with somebody who's a total skeptic a-hole, and they can't read them. Do you think people can block a reading, or sometimes the guides are like, this person just isn't going to get any information, we're not allowed to, or I don't know. I've seen it, and I know these people are good.
Yeah, sometimes.
I've seen them blow my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just not everybody needs a reading, or like sometimes, like if those people did give this real bad skeptic a reading, and it was right on, it would freak them out, and it's what the old timers called like ambush reading, and it's like one of those things you're not supposed to do because it's
like they do on TV.
People are scared for a reason. They're skeptics because they want to stay stupid, which I don't blame them. By the way, I'm all for it. But if they get a reading from something and all of a sudden now they have to change their thinking, now they have to look at things a little deeper. Maybe everything has a little more meaning, and that's a lot. Just for the sake of showing people how good they are psychically. Like it's always about the big picture,
Right.
And it's not necessarily that the psychic was bad. They just sometimes their guides won't let them. It's like, no, it's not time to break that egg,
Well, that's what I always wonder. I mean, my mom had an experience with a psychic reader. I felt like told her information that was wrong. She told her all this kind of information that was completely right. They have no way of knowing, but she told her one piece of information that was wrong, that if she had told her it right, it could have really affected her life and changed things. So it's something of a curiosity of mine with psychics that there's something that their guides won't tell them the correct information for certain reasons. They don't want it would lead somebody down the wrong path, maybe even.
Or the psychic is okay. So when I was a kid, so I'm started doing readings, right? I'm like in my 18, 19, 20 years old. And I'm just this hot psychic. I mean, they're writing stories about me. They're doing, these magazine things about me because I'm just cool and I don't care. I'm just one of those hip psychics, and I'm talking to all these celebs and all that stuff. And I really thought I was great. And I'm doing this show it was a radio show here, and it's a pretty big radio show. And I'm doing live, interview, and I'm doing readings for people. And I'm just, I was great. And this guy comes on, one of the hosts of the show comes on and goes, "Hey, can you give me a reading?" They had like 10 extra minutes left, and I said, "Well, yeah, of course." And so he's in the studio. He goes, "So tell me about my family." And I say, or no, he says, "Tell me about my job." And I said, "Well, boy, they're having a hard time with you at work. It's I don't know. They're a little skeptical of you right now. He goes, well, actually, I just got the employee of the year. Well, okay, how about we talk about my family? And then I say, well, your daughters, and he interrupts. He goes, well, no, I only have sons. Okay.
Oh,
How about we talk about everything I said to this guy was not only wrong, but it was like the opposite. I sucked. And not only did I suck, but I sucked all over the place on this radio station. I was so bad. Everything I was saying. And it was weird because it was the same voice I was always listening to. And I was like, dude, you're lying to me. I was arguing with him. No, what? No, of course. And I couldn't believe it. And finally, at the end, the guy hands me like $20 and goes, I think you're going to need this. And
oh, jeez.
I didn't know what to do. And then people started calling in and saying, boy, that guy was really a bad psychic. Well, how did he get to be where he was? And this and that. It was terrible. And so I couldn't pick up anything psychically for like a year. But Bertie calls me after and says, sometimes you have to get put down a notch or two. And you were just, your ego was getting in the way of things. And it freaked me out. I mean, I had to go to work at Best Buy. And so I started working at Best Buy. And just to make ends meet. And then one day I was working there for a year, and then all of a sudden I'm working in the refrigerator section, and then this lady asked me for a washer and dryer or something like that, and all of a sudden I got all this information about her, and it was back, and thank God. So then I quit Best Buy and I started doing readings again. But
wow,
it was really clear to me then that they cut me off. They said, dude, get yourself in check here, and they were right. Because I really thought I was the guy, but it's not. It's not me. I'm just telling the information, and so ever since then, it freaks me out if somebody says that I did really good with this or that. I'm like, oh, you guys just shut up. Don't pay attention to what they're saying. I got lucky on this. I got lucky on that. Just it makes me nervous. Yeah, because
Brenna, like I said, 10 years later. Brenna says 10 years ago, you put her in a direction, and she's thankful you affect people's lives.
I got lucky, yeah.
You got lucky.
Uh-huh.
No,
yeah,
you have an ability. You have an ability, but obviously there's another aspect to it. It's what I've always been interested with mediums and psychics, that these guides are in somewhat control of that aspect, and they cut you
totally
off
controlled.
because
yeah, cut me off, and it was because I really was, So, and it wasn't. It's I don't come up with this information. I wouldn't, they're the ones that feed me this stuff. I like, okay, so there's been some mediums that have gotten in some trouble because they do research on people that have already paid for their show, and
they're not mediums, they're frauds, but yeah,
they're frauds, and but some of them are really famous. Some of them are but whatever. I know that the same thing that kind of has shut that stuff off with me will work with them too. And maybe, there's some really good psychics out there that are like $2, and then there's some really crappy psychics that are like $400. And, it doesn't, it's tough, it's tough. I don't know. And I know that, from past experience though, I got to be careful about, now when I do readings, it's not so much about being right. It's just making sure that I'm not wrong, because that scares me more than anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if you had that
people know
experience.
My number, they know how to get hold of me.
Yeah, well, but if you've had that experience where you messed up and you got shut off by your own guides because they're trying to take you down a notch, that makes you like, okay, I'm not going to cross that line again.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful. Obviously they're to keep you in check. So that's what I've always wondered, that aspect of how that plays in. I mean, people have to develop their psychic gifts, but they obviously have to develop a relationship on the other side.
Yeah. You got to grease the wheels. You got to be. So I don't know. I think that there's a middle ground there. You got to have confidence to do readings. You can't just be like, well, I hope you're going to get a job. No, you have to take risks to do it. So in order to do that, you got to believe what they're telling you is true.
Right.
But for me, I got to just be careful of that. I understand where it's coming from. Now, some other psychics are really cocky, and and they get away with it. And God bless them for that. I can't.
Their spirit guides didn't take them down a notch.
No. In fact, they send them press clippings. I swear to God, yeah. But I don't. It's not good to talk. Like being a psychic, it's a weird job, and so I find myself defending other psychics, even if I don't like them. There's some that I don't like, but we're all kind of in it together, so we're all supposed to support each other.
Yeah.
So it's funny being in that position. Some of these people, you can tell that they're just younger souls, and that they're learning just like we all are. And and sometimes I just want to yell at them. But I got to remember too that they care more about stuff than I do, and that they have a lot more enthusiasm about things that I don't. That I don't. So they bring things to the table that I certainly don't. And there's a lot of psychics out there that know stuff that I'm just like, wow, that was great that you did that. And part of it's, like I say, it's because I don't care.
Well, I mean, psychics can't be God. They can, the testing shows that they're anywhere from 70. Some of the best ones are like 70% accurate. They may be 85% accurate. They're not God. They're not going to know everything, and that's the problem. I've had a lot of psychic experience in my life, and I wanted to develop it. More recently in my life, I wanted to go back and looking to developing it, but I don't know if I could ever sit there even if I developed it and say I'm a psychic, because there's so much expectation with that and so much misnomers for people on it that it's a bold step to come out and say I'm a psychic, or I'm a medium, or I'm a clairvoyant.
Yeah, it does do something for you though when you just finally just accept that. It's like that kind of they kind of help out too. They help your little guides. They see that it's a big deal for you, and they step up for you. Then sometimes the voices get bigger, louder, and
maybe when you make the commitment, because it is a commitment. That's the other thing. You're committing to doing this as a work or as a thing. We do have somebody else on the line. We got 601 area code. Who do we got?
Hi, Jason. It's Diva.
Hey, Diva. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thanks for calling in.
Great name.
Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I'm a baby of the '60s too. We're right about the same age, I think.
Okay.
Yes, I had a real quick question. I'm being stalked and harassed on multiple social media apps, and I want to know: is it best for me just to ignore these people, block them, and maybe they'll move on to somebody else, or do you think it's going to get serious and I need to get in, police involved or something?
Media apps. Well, that's a good question. Yeah. I would. Oh crap! See. Yeah, I would. You're gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with it. I mean, because it's not gonna stop. I mean, that sounds terrible, but it just they're not gonna stop. But the cool thing about that is that by doing that, it's gonna help. Not necessarily. It sounds like a dick move to do, but it's gonna make sense. Yeah, you're gonna do it, and you should. I'm sorry. I wish you could just ignore it. I would, but
you're right.
In your case, I don't think you can. Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because it's just like, it doesn't stop, honey. It's just like it doesn't stop, and it's getting kind of stupid. Now, my tendency,
I don't know,
because the way I think, I would just ignore it and just keep going. I'm sorry.
I live in a small area, and I don't think we have like a cyber crimes department, with the sheriffs. But I kind of know where these people, the area they're in. I don't know if I should call them and see if they've got something, or the FBI. I mean, I don't know who to call.
It's even just your posturing for that. Even if you're just determined in your little head that you're gonna not do this anymore, I think that's what they're looking for. Not necessarily even action. I mean, you may take some action, but it's more just. It's actually not going to be that hard. It seems like you just do some investigating. You talk to some people that can kind of strike back a little bit, and it's taken care of. And I guess they want you to do that for other stuff because, I think they want you to. It's more about a cleanup job than it is about it's like they want you to get cleaned up for stuff that's coming up in your life. So they want to patch up all the holes, and this is like one of those holes that you got to patch. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
great.
If you could take care of this, then you can go on.
Okay, because I consider myself a light worker, and these people are supposedly Satanists. I mean, I don't know.
I remember the post you shared of that. Yeah.
I love a good Satanist. Yeah,
these are not
but
good
you know
to
the
me.
thing about it is, no, honey. You know what? I have a really terrible mouth, and ever since I was a kid, I tend to get myself into so much trouble. And I've had so many people cast spells on me and put curses on me because I'm an asshole. Excuse me. I can be kind of colorful, and and you have to learn how to protect yourself if you're going to be like that. And so I had to learn really young. I can't even tell you the first time. I swear I had like 3 witches put spells on me. I thought for sure I was going to grow a tail or something. And I ran home and I called one of my teachers and said, oh my God, I'm really in trouble now. Because I went to a party and I just started talking crap to these, witches, and I was just,
Oh,
I don't know
geez.
what was wrong with me. But I just thought, shut up, and I got in their face. And they were, but I've had a lot of people, there's your side and there's their side, and you generally don't blend. And so this, I think, if anything, it's probably going to help you kind of fortify your position. That's all. Not necessarily tangle with them.
Okay.
Light workers have their job. Dark side has their job. It's not, it's.
Well, that's
and
great
so
information. I feel like.
Yeah, they're probably going to try and show you how to get stronger and show you how to protect yourself better. So, it's not a tug of war. It's just that you're protected, so you can walk into these places. I had to learn.
Okay.
The hard way.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Diva, for calling in.
Yeah, good luck. I think it's actually a good thing.
You too, Jason. You have a good night.
Thank you.
Now you got TikTok witches to deal with. The TikTok witches. I don't see that. Cursing the moon.
Witches, yeah. No, I love the moon. Yeah, I love the moon. I like witches too. I think they're great.
Yeah, there's plenty of good witches out there.
They have their place. Yeah.
But
No,
if they're these are Satanists,
interesting.
not witches, anyways. She's dealing with people are saying they're part of the Church of Satan and stuff. I've seen her post.
I know, and that's cute. It's
cute.
I get what they're saying. They're trying to scare and do this and do that, but I get it.
But it's just some fat guy lives in his mom's basement. That's what I think. I'm a Satanist.
Yeah,
Mommy, where's my cheesy poos?
Yeah.
That's what I picture when she's
right.
she's,
But then
big
you got,
talkers.
the religious people who are just, yeah.
Oh yeah, and you get the Christian people you're going to burn in hell. How much of that have you had to deal with in life?
Yeah, and they're put those guys in the room, and that's when the fun starts.
Yep. Yeah, put them in the room together. The Christians with the Satanists.
And they're not that far apart. That's the thing.
No,
they're not
both
that
dogmatic.
Exactly. Yeah, and but God bless them. They have something there that they're upset about. So.
Well, like she's, I know you had the radio host thing where he asked you to do a reading, but are you able to pick up anything for me, like future possibilities or choices I got coming up, or anything that come to you for me? Not to put you on the spot. I don't know if your spirit guides take you down a notch.
No. Yeah. No, that was a while ago. That was God, I was so young. I remember that. Yeah, dude, what the hell? Get out the fence and just do this stuff. You're just circling the pen here. You got some skills, man. You're supposed to use them. It's just like you're just waiting. I don't know what the hell for, but you're just waiting. So, it's like it's one of those things that's just such a dumb question. I don't even know how to address it. And my normal asshole self would probably say something sarcastic. But I'm trying to be, kind here because it doesn't
it's
make
all right.
sense. What
I
the
can
hell,
take it.
Well,
I can
okay,
take
so
it.
you're behind schedule. you understand that you're supposed to do something? You were already. They've been trying to get you to go here for a while. I mean, what the hell?
All right.
Stevie Wonder can see it, but you'll have to find. I mean, they're gonna try and, especially this summer, or excuse me, this fall, they're gonna push it even more. They're gonna get you off of your position and just push it one way or another. They got good plans.
That makes
they
a
got
lot of
really
sense.
good plan for you. But it's
That
certainly
makes a
not
lot of
continuing
sense.
to do what you're doing. But you're a pain in the butt for them. You're a pain in the butt because you're
That
too smart.
makes a lot of sense.
You kind of, you and you don't trust anything. You just don't, which I like about
Nope.
you. But you're,
That's dead on.
yeah. But so you're a pain in the ass because they can't come up to you and say, okay, we want you to do this, because you'll see all the ins and outs. You see 3 and 4 steps ahead of you, which is good in some ways, but it's kind of sucked because it stopped you from living the process. And so they're and you know what? If they had more time, it's not like you're going to die, because you're not going to die. You're actually going to be here for a while. But they have plans for you. You're supposed to be in a certain spot by now, and you're not. And so they're kind of looking at their clocks going, okay, we got to turn this thing up. And that's what this fall's about. It's a little shake and bake action for you. It's not scary. It's just getting you off your butt and putting you in a different room, and then having you decide, okay, can you do this? But, oh my God, you're going to freaking love it. I'm not kidding. You're going to freaking love it. It's like, you're hanging back, and they put you in this other room, and you're like, okay, I can do this. Oh my God, you're going to like it. You're a pain. You're just a pain. And so actually it's going to suck to be you for a little bit too, because, they have, they're going to take all the little things that have distracted you. You're going to get bored as hell. You're going to get impatient. You're not going to be distracted by the same stuff. Even some of your friends are going to be bugged. It's like they're kind of, squeezing the walls in a little bit here, but that's what they got to do with you, and they got to
I'm a
make
pain
it
in the
about your
butt.
control, because you kind of have an issue with control. Oh my God, you're like,
Wow.
right. But see, they have plans for you.
Oh my God, right. Oh my God, I'm dying. I know Jamie and Rob are like, oh yeah, he's hitting this on the head so hard. Let's see what time we got here. All right, I think that's enough on me, but I think you nailed it. I think you really nailed it. Really bad. Really nailed it hard on me.
They got it taken care of. No, they got it. They got it taken care of. All you have to do is just keep going, and it's all like you're going to feel like you're in control. You have a little issue with control, so don't worry. They got it taken care of. Like, you're going to make the decisions. It's nice.
All right,
It's nice.
that makes a lot of sense, though. We got
Just do it.
I don't want to be selfish. I'm going to get another call in here. We got 204 area code. Who do we got?
Hi, you got Janice from Canada calling.
Hey, Janice. Thanks for calling in.
Cool. Hi, Canada. Or Janice,
Hello, Michael.
I live right next to Canada.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I mean, I don't live by Canada.
I
live in a
wondered
state right by Canada.
Close enough.
I wondered if you could tell me what would be happening for me in the next year or so regarding work.
Sure, I could, but it would take an hour. Okay, I shouldn't say that.
You got about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Work. Okay, what's your what was your concern about work? You mean like getting hired? I mean, advanced, all that kind of stuff. I just need a direction.
If there would be a lot of work for me, yeah. If there would be a lot of work for me, if there's a change in direction for me.
Okay. So, no, there's not going to be a whole lot of work for you, but that's the point. Like the host here, they're trying to get you to kind of go too. Yes, there's a different direction. But it's a tricky thing with you, with your work, because, and I know I'm sounding general, but it's kind of a thing. How do I explain this? Your work stuff is going to be drying up. Okay, it's going to be drying up, and they're hoping that you're thinking about going in this other direction, because then if you don't, all of a sudden it gets really busy again, and then you're stuck there. So it's like they're kind of draining the swamp so that you can look at some of their opportunities. And if you don't take them, then they're just going to fill it back up, and then you get really busy. So it's kind of an important thing. So the answer to your question is, you don't have as much work coming up. You're going to look around, hopefully, and you're going to make a move. If you don't, it gets really busy, and you're stuck there like Cinderella. I mean, then you're stuck there.
Is it more to do with healing work?
You know what they say in church? Bingo!
B47. No, B4. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, honey,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be doing
I'm
this stuff for a
drawing
while,
that way,
right?
and I have. Oh yeah.
Okay.
They keep hitting me on the back of the head.
Right. And see, that's the thing. So when I talk to these guys, they're looking at me. They're practically detaching their retinas from rolling their eyes. When people ask me these questions, and so I have to like calm them down. And say, okay, just give me the information, and so then they talk to me like they're talking to a first grader. Okay, well, what needs to happen? So they have to talk real slow. And in your case, I can see why they're a little frustrated with you, but they don't want you to. They just want you to get. They just want you to just. They don't worry about it. You won't. Well, don't worry about it. You won't have much choice. You won't have much choice. You're gonna have to do this stuff. Yeah. You're just gonna have to do it. Sorry, that's not very helpful. I know, but it's
put
just.
It this way, it looks like that.
Janice, you go.
It looks like what?
Sense. That is sort of. It is just sort of where the direction is heading of the path, so it does make sense.
Honey, you're supposed to be on that path, for God's sake. Yes. But okay.
I know.
And hopefully you'll just go, because, But so your job stuff is going to dry up with the intent of you looking up and going, well, what? What's going on? And that's when hopefully you're going to do it.
Okay.
Please do it.
All right. Thank you so
It'll
much.
save so much time.
Yeah. I can envision the eye rolls already.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You guys all stay safe there.
Thank you, Janice. You have a great night.
Thank you, Janice.
Okay. Bye-bye.
But when you're reading for me there, that's like the whole, I hear it in my head. I hear a lot of the same things you're saying, like, you need to be doing more, getting yourself out there more. I mean, I had another psychic, John Russell, say about the same exact thing you said, a couple weeks ago on the show.
I think if you go to 3 other psychics, they're going to say the same thing. It's kind of like your guides are just they're not even going to screw around anymore. They're just like, okay, we got this done. We're going to do it. There's no way in hell you're not going to be able to not do it, unless you decide to join a monastery of some kind. You're gonna.
I almost did that.
I know they mentioned that. That's why I said monastery. Whatever.
It's true. Right before I met my wife.
What the hell were you thinking?
I wanted to give up on dumb humans. That's why.
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. But see, that's the thing, is you're really smart and you know a lot of stuff, but you just, you suck at trust and people and all that. But damn, buddy, what do you think you're here? Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah, it's going to happen sooner or later. They just kind of want you to have, some youth to you still. They just they need you
I would like that
youth.
too.
But come on,
I think for me as being a father,
and
it's
the money
like
stuff. Don't you want the more money?
I do. Oh yeah, I do want more money. I like money. I like money a lot. No, but for me, it's like I'll do this, but I'm waiting for my kids to get older.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You understand. So yeah, you got kids. They've grown. How is it for you? We're going to go to commercial break here in a minute, but seriously, having kids, being a parent myself, my kids have grown up in a weird home. I have to say, and not your traditional home. But like, how has it been for you as a father, being a psychic?
Oh, I was a stay-at-home dad. They got to be with me the whole time, and I didn't want them to be psychics because of the family stuff. But they grew up with my mom would teach them stuff on the side, how to do tarots and this and that, and so they were used to that. And my son would go ghost busting with me, but we have ghosts all the time in the house, and it just became a part of their normal life. Neither one of them are doing it. Like my son's an engineer and my daughter's a psychologist.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, because she wanted us, she was curious about the whole mental illness part of this whole thing, because she could see spirits and she could do this and do that, but it's it's a nice blend for them. They got a nice blend. It's great. Yeah, they went with me.
You raised 2 kids with open minds, at least, to it, especially if one's a psychologist.
Well, I would beat them if they didn't. Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's hard for people. We talk about trying to find a therapist to talk about things they're going through, and most of these people are in the scientific or psychological community, don't believe in this stuff. So at least you have, there's one person out there, your daughter, doing the job that has an open mind to it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both very.
That's what I'm trying to teach my kids.
It's not like they can. Right, and all you have to do is just you just listen to them, and you just kind of you don't poo-poo the stuff. You just kind of go along, and most times kids just outgrow it all, and they get jaded. But sometimes it's just a matter of listening to them, because kids are great. They just shine. They just shine, and Spirit loves kids. They just do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe they are able to perceive a lot more than we do. They're naturally psychic in a way when they're young.
God, yeah.
They haven't been bogged down by all the dogma
absolutely.
of society and religion, to tell them that this stuff's not real or it's satanic or all that stuff. They have a little more open mind. That's what I'm trying to teach my kids, is just to, like my son, he was just saying something like, a song came on the TV in the other room. He goes, I was just thinking about that song. Or that video was a video that came on that his little brother put on. He goes, I was just thinking about that exact video, and then now he played it. I'm like, maybe, kiddo, just open them up to their senses. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to help their lives.
We got about 30 minutes left. You're going to hang on with us for the last 30, and we're going to go to the last commercial break.
I certainly can. Okay.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, we're going to go to our last commercial break. Phone lines will be open when we come back from the commercial break. Call in. If you want a reading, have a specific idea what you want to ask Michael, for a reading. Have in mind what you want, him to look into. And focus on that and have a good question for him. I think that'll best work, right, Michael?
That would help. Yeah, if they want a quick one. Yeah, they want to.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be quick too. So we only got 30 minutes left of the show, guys. But we'll be right back after a short commercial break.
Okay.
Intercepted the transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated. I don't want to hear it.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and InterfaceDeath.net.
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hi, I'm Barry, owner-operator of Barry's Barometer Barn.
Lately, I bet you've been lying awake at night asking yourself, how many barometers do I really need? Well, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we think you need more than one. Otherwise, we're gonna go out of business. Remember, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we don't know the meaning of high-pressure sales. Come on, folks, buy another barometer. I'm trying to put my kids through college, I've got a family to support, and a secret mistress who isn't cheap.
Visit Barry's Barometer Barn, 000 Storm Drive. Come on, folks, buy a barometer. I'm Barry's older brother, Larry, and every time one of you people walk past the store without coming in, Barry beats me.
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the dreamscape.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do voices from beyond the cold case files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Heat 'em up. Do, re, Egon.
You're listening to Paranormal Soup, bringing you the weird every Sunday night. Call into the show and join the discussion. The call-in lines are 219-230-4444 or 260-225-9419 or by Skype caller ID OOJBland00 or JBland Paranormal Soup. And now to your host, Jason Bland.
Tonight's guest is Psychic and Ghostbuster Michael Bodine. We are taking your phone calls if you want to call in for a short mini reading. And like I said, have an idea what you want to ask our guest. We only got about a half an hour left, so get an idea what you want him to try to look into about your future or your future paths. So I like to say quote Yoda from Empire Strikes Back, the future's always in motion. That's my belief on it. I think that Michael kind of has that belief too. But call in, let us know, or share an experience, or get advice from Michael. That's all. But the phone lines are open. Call in. But let's get back to our guest. All right. Still hanging in there with me, Michael?
How you doing?
Doing good.
I am so
All right.
hanging in here.
So, doing these
doing?
readings, doing good. Doing all the the readings and doing the ghost busting and all this, throughout your life, and you're not scared of it anymore and all that. But I mean, ghost busting, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm a paranormal investigator. I've always gone into it not as a ghostbuster. Like my feeling on it is, one, I don't know what I'm dealing with half the time. Even if I investigate it, get all the data I can, I still don't know what I'm dealing with. I'm not a psychic like you. I might have feelings. I might see stuff sometimes, but I don't know. But I know people like you that are really good at cleansing houses. How does that work? How do you bust a ghost? How do you cleanse a ghost out of a house?
Okay, so there's 3 basic things that you do when you do Ghostbusting. First of all, you have to get the story from the person, which is my
Right.
least favorite part of the Ghostbusting. Which means that this is the first time that somebody's going to actually listen to them. That's probably not going to think they're crazy. So whoever has the story is going to go on and on and on and on. And it drives me crazy. So I always bring somebody with me that can listen to the story without punching somebody. And that's usually like, it used to be my son, but then he got kind of frustrated with it. But it's usually people that are kind of interested in all this stuff that find it really interesting. So the first thing you do is you get a rough idea of the story about what's going on, who's doing what, where, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then you go through the house yourself without the host, just to get a feel, just to see if there's anything around. Sometimes the people are just
Right.
mental, and they just make stuff up. And then sometimes
Yes.
there's some stuff you can feel, hot and cold, blah, blah, blah. And then you decide how you're going to get rid of the spirit. And then you go ahead and then you get rid of it. And it's mostly just like, okay, as a responsible Ghostbuster, you're supposed to send them to the light, but
Right.
I'm not that responsible. Most of the time, I just try to get them out of there because I don't want to waste a lot of time. But because it turns into this counseling session, like, why are you here? What happened to you? Why are you afraid to go the other side? Blah blah blah. And I don't really care. I just want them out of there. But sometimes I will help them to the light. But whatever. It's really more of a counseling thing. It's more just sometimes you get help from spirit from the other side, their friends, and you help them do it. And then you have, and then you get rid of the spirits, or whatever they are. And then you clean it out with some sage, blah, 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 just some remnant stuff. And then you have the person that was in the house, or the person with the story, go through the house with you and have them experience and see what it feels like for them to be gone, blah, blah, blah. And that's how I do it. Generally
Do you
speaking,
find
that's
there's-
just how it basically goes.
Well, do you find there's places, because this, that just cannot be cleared?
Yeah.
There.
Oh yeah. Anything with an Indian kind of heritage to it is a pain because you gotta pay homage to that spirit. To that, you have to kind of leave a plaque or some sort of physical acknowledgement of that. And then once you do that, it kind of smooths things down. Another thing is if there is somebody in the house that doesn't want to go, that actually finds it that they like that spirit there, that it kind of fills a void in their life. Those are pains because they just keep bringing it back. Sometimes I've done houses.
Sometimes
where
people are
there's
haunted.
just
It's not the
nothing you can
place;
do.
it's the people.
Exactly.
would-
Yeah. And so, but I do a lot of possession stuff too. When the people's laying
Right.
naked in the fetal positions, growling and stuff. But those are actually the same thing as ghost bustings, except the spirit is inside the person as opposed to the house. It's a
That's
little
much
more
more
wet
scary.
work, but it's a little more physical. But it's gross too. The smells. I never like the smells. They always got
Ooh.
smells.
Yeah.
But it's all about just kind of pushing out, getting rid of the darkness, and kind of changing into the light. The whole thing. It's and a lot of times it's because people have. Well, okay, so generally speaking, people have to kind of give permission for a soul to kind of jump inside them. Like everybody usually
Right.
has a lot of protection around them, unless they're really stoned all the time. But they generally have natural protection. So you know, everybody, your average Joe isn't going to get possessed or whatever. But and you know, the funny thing too is that a lot of times people like yourself that have natural, what they call the shine, the old psychics used to call it the shine. When a person has the shine, spirit is attracted to it. I mean, like if you're a dead guy and you don't want to go to the other side and you're kind of bored, you're going to be attracted to somebody that has the shine, just because there's a better chance of that person seeing or feeling.
Hearing you.
Yeah. And so even so, people that aren't psychic or that don't believe in this stuff but have the shine, spirit will be attracted to. And so a lot of times people don't understand why their house is haunted or why this or that. And it's not necessarily the house, it's just the people. Like you said, it's they're drawn to the person that's going to be more apt to pay attention to them. And the problem, some of the problems that I don't like are when people adopt their pet or the ghost like a pet, you know?
Yeah.
I did a job where these people had she was like Mrs. Doubtfire, you know, big kind of heavy set lady that was on the other side.
Yeah.
And they liked her, you know, but then she felt so a part of the family that she was like disciplining the kids. Like the kids would feel slapped, you know, they'd get slapped if they were bad.
Yeah.
And that, you know, but it was really the parents that were allowing that to happen because they thought it was kind of cool. And they would tell everybody, oh yeah, we got a ghost and this and that. Most spirits, like when I first go there, they try to rooster, you know, they try to show you how strong they are and how capable they are of causing terror and all that stuff. And so usually in the beginning of the ghost busting is when it's the most dramatic. But then once they realize that you're in it for the long haul and that it's not going to work, then it just kind of gets down to the work of things. And so most of the time, ghost bustings are really dull. They're very boring.
Well, do you think they hide from you? Like, or
a few minutes are kind of interesting.
Well, I think if a ghost like knew this guy's coming
in,
in, like I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to make any activity, so they don't think anything's going on, and I'm going to be really quiet, so you don't bust me. You know, you always you wonder if that's the case.
But you can seal the house off. Yeah, that happens. But as opposed to just waiting for something, you can just kind of like energy-wise seal the house off, so they can't really get back in. It's kind of like it's a
warding. You know.
Yeah. It's just a thing, but.
My wife does it to my house because she says I bring stuff home. So I understand
and you do, but see in your case, it's not because it's a bad thing. It's like they're trying to get your attention. You know, it's like in your case, it's like okay. So my sister Echo, she was she's a homebody. She irons her socks. You know, this is somebody that doesn't move a lot, and she was living in this apartment downtown Minneapolis. And she had been there for about 10 years and she loved it. It's a nice little 1-bedroom place. She loved it. And well, one day she comes home and it's on the 3rd floor and she unlocks the door and there's a rocking chair in the middle of it going back and forth and back and forth. Ooh. And she gets freaked out. And she's my sister, who is a Ghostbuster, is scared to death of ghosts. Still is. Can't stand it. And so she calls me up and she says, "Hey, Mikey, would you come over?" And I said, yeah. And because she was afraid to come back that night. She went to a meeting and did a bunch of stuff, and she was afraid to come in. And she did come in, and then the rocking chair was again rocking back and forth. So then she called me, and I was living with this girl at the time, and I told her what I was doing, and she wanted to come with me because she didn't want to stay at home alone after I told her what was going on. Whatever. So she came with, and we went over there, and so we're talking, we're sitting on the couch. Now, one of the things that spirit will do is that they'll take energy from you and so that they can manifest, so that they'll become more visible. And so we're sitting on the couch and all of a sudden we all get really tired. So we know something's about to happen. So we go into the bedroom and my girlfriend and my sister lay down on the bed and they got scared and said, just sit here. Will you sit here? So I lay down in the bed, and all of a sudden we hear this banging noise on the wall separating the bedroom from the living room where we were. Yeah. So they freak out, and you can see these lights all over the walls and all this stuff. So they say, go look. So they literally pushed me out into the living room and slammed the door shut. And when I went out there was these three spirits, very distinct spirits. There was a guy right in front of me, and there was a guy to my left and a guy right behind me to my right. And they were pissed. They were not happy. And so I'm trying to negotiate. I'm like, okay, guys, what do you want? You know, and I'm trying to be all tough because, you know, I'm trying to be. And they're not having it. They start getting closer and closer to me. And I'm like, yikes! Feet don't fail me now. So I just fly through the window, you know, fly through the door, slam the door shut, and jump in the bed and go, yeah, I don't think they want to talk. And they start banging on the walls, banging the walls. And so I take the cover and I put us all over our head. So we're literally sitting there with the covers over us. And I'm going, okay, I know I'll go back out there, but I just wanted to take a breather because they're scared to death. And all of a sudden you could feel like something was in the room with us. We put the covers down and the spirits were standing right over us, staring at us. And Echo freaked out, went, ah! And she jumped up, and then I went, get out. You know, I got pissed, and I told them that they had to leave, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it scared Echo so bad. The next day, she was driving, and her car was running out of gas, so she pulled into this gas station, and across the street was this apartment building. And she thought, you know what, I don't want to be there anymore. And so she went across the street and filled out an application. She got the apartment. She was all excited. Okay, a month later, she moves in. She's there for about 2 weeks. And it turns out that there was a fire in that building that only affected where she was staying. So her side of the building was completely destroyed. And if
in
she
the new apartment?
Stayed, which she was
in the
planning
old
to,
apartment. Oh.
No, in the old one. Yeah.
Old one. Okay.
So it wasn't that spirit was trying to be assholes. They were trying to warn her to get out. They were trying to get rid of her. And that was the only way they knew how to do it. And like in your case, I think the only way to get your attention is to just stick with you, you know, just stay with you. So she could sage the hell out of that place. But if there's a higher purpose like it is with you, they're going to keep doing that. So you're kind of screwed. So just do your stuff.
Yeah. But that's interesting.
Come on, do it. Why not?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, like I don't see dead people or anything. Like I have glimpses of things. You know, I see things at times. I don't have any control over my abilities or whatever. But I have something in me that tells me that right. That's exactly the voices. You know, tell me to get more into it. And I'm like, yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. You can. Why the hell do you think you're doing all this stuff? Okay.
You know, I did a reading once. I was doing like tarot in my 20s, and I've told people on the show have heard me say this, but one of the last readings I did, I was doing for this guy with a phone, and I was getting a lot of negative energy from him, and he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like a lot of sexual deviancy stuff, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I turned to look up, and I had the lights really low, and there was a storm going on while I'm on the phone with this guy. And the lightning flashed, and I see just for a few seconds this dead man, looks like a zombie in a suit, sitting on my couch, and he just smiled at me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to let you go. So I guess I'm not hitting with you on this tarot reading. I'm done. And it kind of scared me. I mean, like, so, you know.
Okay, well, here, let me suggest this too. Now, remember, there's a light side and there's a dark side, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I've experienced the dark side.
It works in all sorts of different ways. Right.
Yeah.
So you know what the dark side's job is? Its only job is to prevent people from living what they're here to do. It's nothing personal. It's just that's its job. It tries to stop you from doing what you're here to do. If it can put self-doubt in you, if it can put fear, it does all that stuff. And most of the time it works. 99% of the time it works with people. People don't think that they deserve opportunities because they hear a little voice saying, no, they don't deserve it, or it's not the right one, or they're going to fail and all that stuff. That's the dark side's job. It's not like it comes after you with horns and goes, la, la, la. In your case, maybe. But in most cases, it's just putting that little self-doubt and doing all that stuff. If anything, that's a compliment that little weird psycho ass was sitting on your couch. That means that there's a reason why they're trying to stop you. And they don't usually screw around with waiters and waitresses because they're, or people that are stuck in doing what they're doing because they're not going to do have the same impact. I shouldn't say waiters or waitresses. I mean, like somebody that's
you're going to get some hate mail on that.
Because there's actually a lot of waitresses and that waiters that are here to do a whole bunch of really cool stuff, actually. And that's so funny. Why did I say that? Oh, because because I just did a reading for a person that was a waiter, and whatever. But they don't generally do stuff for people that they're just going to stay, that want to stay in that life, just have a nice family and just have their little outings and stuff. And that's it. And that's okay. And actually, I like that idea. But a person like you, who's actually here to make having a big effect, they try and stop, because you can, if you do go on your path, you could actually reach a lot of people, and you will inspire a lot of people, and people feel a lot better. And the dark side doesn't want that. It just, that's what its whole job is, to prevent that from happening to you. So if they got to you, it sounds like they did, it's like a little victory for them. Or you stick to the light, which is about faith and trust, and just knowing that you're gonna be okay, and knowing that you're protected. You could have all the zombies on the couches if you had, but it still doesn't gonna matter, because you're gonna be protected. That's what they're looking for. So it's kind of a compliment that you had that.
Well, the reason, it put me off is it wasn't. Well, I had to be very careful. Even paranormal investigations, I go in as a investigator, not a psychic. And it's partly because I want evidence, and I want physical evidence to show people. That's why I'm into it. I'm a big EVP guy. But I had an encounter when I was 17 to 18 with a shadow entity that drove me to the brink, the most, you could throw me off a cliff kind of deal. It was really, really, really close to driving me off the deep end. And so I've been always cautious ever since. And that's what I feel like with the psychic abilities. Yeah, well, that's why I feel the psychic abilities could be dangerous. If you don't do it right, if you connect with the wrong person's energy or something, that I could end up with another shadow person or whatever the thing was that messed with me again. So there's a little cautious of that.
Or you find out how you empower yourself more, so when you walk into any situation, you're not afraid. And I think that when you go through those situations, that forces you to do that. And I think that's one of the things that they're going to do, because I think you have a lot more power than you think, bud. I really do. I can feel it. I know you do. It's just that you're not utilizing it. And you have a way more power than a zombie sitting on the thing, or a shadow person. Buddy, you could have that guy for lunch. You could.
I do now. I have had that experience of encountering it again, and I totally get the heck out, and I have my power over it. But there's there's the caution, I'm stirring into waters, especially being a parent, just to try to protect my children, and I want to know what I'm doing, and I want to, and also, if I end up going into it and discovering an ability, what do I use it for? I don't want to, I can't see doing readings for people. I don't know.
That's not up to you, and you're not going to do something you don't want to do. They just they have to have you go through this little part, and it's like what they say: you're responsible for the effort, they're responsible for the outcome, kind of thing. It's one of those deals. You're kind of here in service to others, which sucks to be you, but you are. It's like you agreed that you were going to help people here this time, but they obviously they want you to go bigger. Normal people don't have these experiences.
I do like helping people.
Stuff. The dark is working overtime with stopping you, bud.
I do like helping people, and there's
and you're really good with it. You got a kindness to your voice.
Well, I have situations where in work and in life where I get instincts, and I try to talk to people about things, or try to not tell them I'm getting a psychic impression or I'm getting anything along those lines. I try to do it in such a coy way, and it leads to it. Yeah, I know. So I do. And and it's lately in my life, the reason I've become more interested in trying to develop it is that I feel like I'm forced into it, because I'm having a lot more weirdness, you could say, or just random visions of things, and it's okay, I need to figure out what's going on.
Why do you suppose that is? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think
I get
you're going
that.
to find out that you're a lot more capable than you think. I think you're going to find out that you're a lot more powerful. I think you're going to show your kids how powerful you are. I think you're going to show them and give them permission to be who they need to be, because they're going to feel secure knowing that they can be powerful. I think this affects everything in your life in a very positive way. Otherwise, I don't think they would bother with you.
Well, when I had my honeymoon, I went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and then where's that? Kentucky, I don't remember.
Oh man,
and I had this. I had a tarot reading you know, and I did the whole thing, took my wedding ring off, like hit it, and pissed off the psychic when she's like, I see you getting married very soon. I'm like, like, a little late.
Yeah.
But she's like,
Yeah.
you know, but but at that time I was trying to become a police officer, and she had told me, oh, that's not going to work out. But I see you doing something in this realm, in the paranormal, psychic, and working in law enforcement with it. I'm like, oh, okay. And I've had other psychics, like every reading I had, come up with that somewhere down the line. They've said other things that are wrong, but they all said the same thing, like, I see you doing something psychic or in the paranormal and all that years ago when I'd had a few different readings. So I don't know. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm into that, but I've always my reasons for wanting to develop psychic ability is my curiosity, my scientific mind, in a sense, wanting to understand how it works, and my spiritual self. I call myself. I see my religion's Jediism. You know, like I'm really the idea of the Force and Star Wars, and you know, developing my abilities kind of along that Jedi line.
But see that. But that mentality is exactly the way a lot of other people feel. So you'll help legitimize them. You'll help them ease into this other situation too, because of the way that you think. It's about who you are as a person presenting this information. It's going to help a lot of different people, you know, because you're not into it. You don't even want to call yourself a psychic, and which is great. It doesn't bother me, but you have this ability to, or you're going to have this ability to be the bridge between those different worlds. I mean, if you look at if you step back and look at the whole picture, it's kind of a duh, you know, it's kind of like, you're just kind of perfect for all that. And right now you're just kind of circling the bowl. Yeah, you've been circling the bowl for so long, you probably have vertigo, for God's sake.
I feel you. I feel you on that. Well, that's one of the reasons I started doing the show. Is just I wanted a place where people could come together and talk about these things and their experiences, like I've had, and come together with the pieces of the puzzles, I call them.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's time to take a little bigger piece, take a bigger bite, which they'll show you. You know, they'll show you.
Well, I keep promising the audience we
But
do
it is
psychic
time.
game. We've done psychic game nights and stuff on here, and I don't know how well I did when I did some readings, but we let the audience do readings, and we let the audience try to practice their own skills, and we got to do it. Maybe that way I'll practice my skills too. We got to have a psychic game night here soon.
Well, and yeah, but I think you might, you know, that's still kindergarten stuff for you. They need you to go farther, a little further.
Oh,
I think
somebody's
that's
calling in.
Sweet and all that, but
So we got one phone call that just called in. Let me see if I can take them. We'll see if they can be real quick. We got 856 area code. You're calling a little late, but maybe we can take your call real quick.
I know, Jason, but I just got out of the shower.
Oh, hey, D.
And
Got
hi,
him.
and I texted you just in case. Do you think the gentleman will know and see if I'll ever get my car back from Bobby's, or did my car cross over the bridge, and will I ever
Your car?
drive again?
So she wants to know if her car will return.
oh, okay. I heard something about Bobby and a car.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Bobby's my mechanic in National Park, who has my car for over a year.
right. Do I think
So-
you're going to get it?
I don't have to be a psychic to tell you I don't think so.
I was trying to figure out how to not be sarcastic, but yeah, I don't. It's yeah, no, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I don't think you're right. I don't, you know, I know that sounds terrible, but
I miss my car. I miss
well,
my
I
car.
miss it too,
It's
but
1981.
Well, you might
My
have to.
friend Danny just gave it to me back in 2016. Actually,
Danny
no, it
boy.
was 2006.
Yeah, that's
Well, D, we don't have much toward time left, and my advice is if you own the car, then you should be seeking legal counsel there, or doing something with the law to get it back.
Yeah, if my mechanic.
Yeah, but I know Bobby said it's not running anymore.
Well, it doesn't matter. If you want your car back, you should get it back. But I got to let you go, Dee. We're running out of time.
Okay. It's
Sorry
been
about your
nice
car.
talking to you.
All right, Dee. Have a great night.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye.
And everybody's trying to call in last minute. The show's almost over, guys. So you had to call earlier. Like, it was like 3 people trying to call in there just now. I'm like, what the heck? They're hearing the conversation, wanting to join, I guess. Yeah. Take the legal route. That's what you got to do. Don't ask a psychic on that one. Go get a lawyer or call the police. All right, one more. We'll fit in one more. She makes it quick.
Yeah.
Hold on, because she's kind of a special lady calling in. I haven't heard from her in a while, so one more call. Are you there, Joyce?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, we don't have a lot of time.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi,
I've
Joyce.
been working for this one. Hi there. I've been working for this one person for like 4 months now. He had promised me money over and over again. And
What's
he
the person's
promising
first
me money
name?
Still. His name is Tony.
And you want to know if you're gonna get the money?
I don't know when he's going to give me the money or if he's going to. My soul that I'm with says that he thinks that I'm going to go on to bigger and better things than this person.
Well, yeah. The whole thing with Tony is that it's kind of a trap with Tony. It's like Chinese handcuffs. The more you try to push it, the tighter it gets, the worse it gets. And if you just turned your back completely on him and just went forward, that's what they're looking for. It's like the money isn't. I know you're owed the money and you should get it, but if it's a trap, it's really a trap. If you stay there, it'll just kill you.
Sometimes you got to cut your losses.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
so
you got to cut your losses on this one.
What we're doing is we're trying to get another band together because he's in a band and he's trying to get this global rock thing going. And I don't know whether that's going to happen or not.
It's not going to necessarily work with the big T. No, it's not. He's got some issues, honey. It's not necessarily. He's got some issues, and it's his communication stuff. It's not going to work for him for a while. If you could just step back from him, it'll really help. It really will help.
Well,
I haven't been in contact with him for a while now, actually.
Yeah. Like I said, cut your losses, Joyce.
Okay.
We got to go, though. I got to let you go, Joyce.
Okay.
Sorry, hon. Yeah, but just, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a great night, Joyce.
Right.
Well, Michael, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Fun talking to you.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on again. I know the audience would. I know there's like everybody trying to call in last minute to talk to you. But maybe another time I get you on to do it again.
With you. I would love that.
Yeah. I have to figure out any personal advice for where I should start. Like, you say I have to go bigger than like it's like a game night. Like any advice on where I should start?
Well, okay. See, the problem is that you're looking at the floor, and you are a psychic hemorrhoid. But it's not about you doing it. All they're asking you is to keep an open mind to what they're going to present to you, because they kind of threw it out just trying to have you figure it out yourself. So now they're just going to step in and do it.
All right.
So
I will
all you have
keep
to
that
do
in
is just
mind.
say yes to the opportunities that are coming. But it's going to stop for a little bit. You're going to get bored to death of everything.
That sounds about right. Well, thank you, Michael, again for being on the show. That's it, guys. End of the show. We'll be back. It was great talking to you. Check out your website. It's www.michaelbodine.com. Check it out.
Thank you.
Might want to get a reading from Michael if as long as you don't care if it's going to be about joining a bowling team.
Well,
right?
yeah. it.
All right, guys, we will be back next Sunday with guest Angela Thomas, psychic and clairvoyant. We've got another psychic on. I don't know if she's going to do readings or not, but we're going to talk about her experiences. I think she is doing readings. So next week, you can get a reading from Michael. We can try again with Angela next week. So, all right, guys, have a great night. See you next Sunday. Also, big thanks to, I always forget this, I want to make sure I say it, to my patrons. Yeah, $2 a month helps support the show. Keep donating. Thank you to everybody who does. You do help pay the bills. Thank you to everybody who shares the show out. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that little bell on there so it reminds you when we're going to go do postings and when we're going to go live. So that will help you. All right, guys, have a great night. See you next Sunday.